So today we should go into a little bit of maybe the RP behind like why. This is a game I would RP in a little bit. Just like not just being a hard mode, but like why can't we use a bow? Like one of our parents was a hunter, that's what inspired us to be a hunter, but one day they accidentally misfired an arrow and shot the like our favorite pet that we had as a kid and accidentally killed it. So we vowed to never use a bow or a gun or anything ranged. And also the attachment to the pet is going to be like a key theme of this, because like we're almost just a Warcraft Pokemon trainer, because we're going to be so weak and rely on the pet so much because we can't use the bow. So, and also the category is just that if a certain type of pet dies, we not only can we not use that one again, if it ever dies at any point we can't revive it, we also can't use any pet of the same family. Like it's a raptor, so we can't use any more raptors. So that's kind of a harsh condition, but you know, we shouldn't be letting them die anyway. So it's almost like if the pet dies, you die. Not that it's going to be guaranteed, but... And then almost starting here makes it seem like we're starting fresh. We're still level 1. This will be the third episode of the first episode, but, you know, of just starting the game. I didn't even really sort this out very well, although I was trying to be stingy and keep everything. I got a little bit unlucky with bags. So I did, like I haven't gotten any bag drops, which you often do. I don't like that you get rested experience for that. I almost would rather not. Like, if you're not in a main city... I'm probably the only one who would ever complain about a thing like that, but just for the immersion of it. I feel like you didn't used to do that, or at least not that much. I guess that's a week's worth, because I only play this like once a week. So we're going to go to Sen'jin Village, and it's not that I've never played as a Horde side, but I never really paid it much attention. In fact, not only did I not play the Horde, I basically only played humans on the Alliance. I didn't have much race variety. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of quests to do for Sen'jin Village and stuff. I'm not going to worry about Razor Hill or Taming the Pet. This is kind of meant to be a very, you know, a very slow, immersive kind of thing where I'm actually reading the quest text too. So like, even if I did get from 1 to 60, I think I did with like a Troll Rogue for whatever reason at one point, but it was like very unfocused. I was distracted. I was like watching videos while doing it. Yeah, that might have been the Ben Shapiro. React to Ben Shapiro videos while playing WoW. One of my few react times on my old channel. Or like, what was the other one? Like Hearthstone. React to the Jody Arias trial while playing Hearthstone for some reason. That one was actually pretty good though. Because everybody was like fluffing up Juan Martinez. Oh, he's so good. But it's like, how do you not win a case like that? You know what I mean? Like it's a uphill battle. So it makes him look better than what he actually is. Okay, so regeneration is nice to have. We did like a mini fishing quest where I have to fish in like every body of water that we find, which that could get a little bit crazy actually. But what the map actually does here is it really helps you with that. You can see, I guess I didn't realize exactly in how much detail, you can actually see every little dinky, meaningless body of water. It's not like these are key locations, they're just nothing. I didn't realize how specific it was with that. I don't think I fished in this one. How insulting, considering we started here. So upon hearing of our success with fishing everywhere else, now the fisherman trainer over here is going to allow us to fish in the ocean there behind him. That was kind of the whole mindset behind it. We have to invent our own quests because there are not enough already. And then what else did we have? I mean, we're gonna have very few abilities, so I was thinking I can turn into like a, on top of being a Warcraft Pokemon trainer, we can turn into a sort of like a Batman type of thing where we'll be an engineer, and whatever we can make and stomach up, because we have to do it all ourselves. We can't use the auction house and stuff. But even like a timely explosive here and there would feel kind of fun, because I don't have any other anything. Like whatever abilities we get, we're not going to be able to use, because yeah, this is the closest to range combat that I'll see, is throwing a goddamn lure into the water. Other than that, it'll be like an axe or something. Of course, it's very unfair level 1 to 10, because not only do you not have a pet, but you can't even use like two-handed axes and stuff, or at least I haven't been to a town. I think that constitutes all the bodies of water here. Yeah, let's celebrate our fishing achievement. I might take out the centaurs first here on the right. These guys are always dancing. Can't blame them. The troll town music is pretty good. Yeah, this is our best in slot maybe that we could get from this general area, just shops. NPC shops are going to be a big factor in this run, just being able to, you know, every time you get to a new town, you get an actual meaningful upgrade if you have enough money, because that might be the best you can get, or a lot of it's going to come from quests too. you got Hunter's Mark just for the heck of it, but I don't really have to learn a lot of spells because most of them are going to have to do with the bow anyway. I won't even have a bow equipped, but like I said, I might use it as a stat stick just later on if I really feel the need to. It doesn't really feel as hard so far as it should be. Even at the low levels, I feel like you should kind of get punished for doing this. Like, I'm not even using my bow or anything. And then later on, it's going to just be the, oh, the pet's so strong. But, like, imagine doing this with also the ability to use ranged and a pet. Like, you know what I mean? I always do these formats that are a little bit over the top, where I try to go out of my way to make it harder, but then people still complain about, like in Dark Souls or something, oh, I'm a dexterity only character or a strength only character. And they're like, well, that means you're going to hit so much damage, but you could be that plus have other stats too. So like it would be a net positive. There's no worst case scenario unless you just want to do a soul level 1 character. Okay, Razor Hill I'm not going to worry about. We're not worthy until we try to fight to reclaim our home here. Oh yeah, that was the nice little poetic license I took with the thing too. That like we're a hunter whose wings are clipped, because that's one of the key hunter abilities, obviously, is wing clip. Not that I ever played as a hunter, but you know, in this sense, our wings are clipped because we can't use a bow, we can't use a gun, so we have to do it kind of the hard way. We're basically a warrior with fewer abilities and worse talents to complement that. Okay, Razor Hill. This is Sen'jin Village. Oh, maybe I should turn this in first, or actually it doesn't really matter. That's weird. I was trying not to fill up my thing probably, but you would be able to turn these in, so I guess not a big deal. Durotar Tiger. Now we should have some resistance in RP too to being able to kill animals, because it's like, as much as of course it's just a game, you do slaughter like so many goddamn animals in this game for seemingly no reason. It's a good way to give you extra enemy types, sure, but literally everything is just hostile and everything is out to get you. This is to do with obviously what is it, Echo Isles, and by the time we get there it won't be orange anymore, so there's no need to try to prove anything by fighting stuff above your level. So what is the Kolkar thing? You don't even have to kill them, you just have to mess up their plans. So let's talk to this guy and he'll teach us how to fish, even though we already know. He'll give us the green light, although saving him from the centaur before, like they're attacking him and you have to kill them to be able to talk to him. That's what it was before. It wasn't enough to convince him. I must admit I never really did a ton of fishing, but it is kind of a nice immersive profession. Let's do a couple of these. Nothing should really bother us. These things are kind of too far away. And of course they make the bobbers go in different places, so they thought of everything. So people couldn't use a bot to just like auto click for them in the same spot. Although you still could, like, I'm sure by today's standards it'd be easy to have one that can detect where the thing goes and still do it. I barely have enough room for this. Yeah, I'll do the Kolkar thing. I'll turn in the quest. And the Kolkar or the centaur are like the mortal enemies of the Tauren. They both have hooves. I guess that's why. But basically, I think it's so stupid that trolls don't have shoes. I think that's a really dumb design decision. I don't know why even. Like Taurens, I can understand their hooves are too big and stuff. But then it's not even consistent lore-wise, because you're still wearing like, you know, these epic legendary boots that are giving you 50 stamina and 50 whatever. And it's like, you're still getting the benefit of them, but you're not visually wearing them. And somebody even floated that idea, like, oh, they didn't add Nagas because they couldn't figure out, fuck. I even said I shouldn't get bothered while doing that. See, some little slip up like that could be the kind of thing that gets you killed later. Or just aggroing multiple things, like a centaur will be creeping up behind me. Not trying to farm experience, dude. Yeah, we enjoyed our little fishing thing there. And you know what this almost makes me think of is, yeah, you know how like React YouTubers with their face cam, they'll do like a certain expression or a pose while we're reacting to a video, and everybody's like, they're doing that for their editor so they can make a thumbnail. So for me, this should be my thumbnail. How do you do the, oh, you know, I can't do the Alt Z because of my stupid GeForce experience thing, and I don't know how to change the thing. Maybe I can change the hotkey here. I would like get in the water in a particular pose to be able to make a thumbnail out of that to show like the way of water. It's only the second time I've used that title since the movie came out. I used it for a Skyrim because we like hugged the coast to survive our little permadeath college trip. We went to get a single book for the college, and that was the whole experience because of how brutal it was. So how do you do the keybind for, what would it be under? Camera. It's Alt Z, which, okay, here we go. Numpad that. Oh, really? Okay. I kind of don't like that yellow text. That should be off by default. Especially when you level up, it'll say screenshot captured. Like, that's so immersion breaking. I don't want to see that. All because people wanted me to use the mod. Like, I am the mod, dude. I was the achievement hunter before achievements existed. Like, where I would try to fill out every section of the map and stuff. You want to get, like, a clean shot that portrays the water very beautifully. And sort of show the Echo Isles. Let's see, how can we do this? Kind of want it to be underwater. Can you do like emotes here too? Oh, it's not even letting me do anything. Oh, you know what? You could end up getting killed. You'll end up drowning because of that. I'll die to RP of all things. Here, let me think. I want to... This could get the same point across, like above water, but I love the way it looks actually if you're underwater. You get something in the background that's really, really striking. How about like, but see how contrived this is? Like, you should do it more subtly. That shows you I'm not like a fake content Andy who does this kind of thing all the time. I would just find something in the video naturally when I'm editing it to use. Like, I don't know. I feel like the background's not conspicuous enough. I'm totally gonna die, but you'll start hearing the sound at least. Be so much easier to do as an undead. Or maybe I should drown on purpose just to... what do you call it? Oh, see, I don't want that Makura thing in the background. I should drown on purpose just to show that we're struggling to breathe. Like, even the Avatar, you know, some of the main characters were struggling to breathe despite their, I don't know, capability of holding their breath for a ridiculous amount of times. I guess they just weren't practiced in that regard. But you got to get something in the reflection that is really cool, like this. Oh, look how you see the whole town there. That is actually pretty sick. The backdrop of Senjin Village. Yeah, these reflections actually look amazing. Maybe that's because of the upgraded graphics or whatever, because this is obviously not how it looked originally. I almost wanted to use the classic graphics, but that's only 3 out of 10, or even 7 out of 10 says recommended. I don't know what that means, recommended, like because of my system or because of... It couldn't be that, because it doesn't seem to matter, but you should never get caught off guard either, because you have all this. So you can see, like, the aggressive ones are... Why am I so low on health even? What the hell? I mean, I guess I'm overestimating how short these battles should be. Running away could get you killed because they'll aggro a whole bunch more stuff. That probably is better than what I have, or at least we'll change it for the appearance sake. Yeah, let me try to get it off against the backdrop of Senjin Village. And then I'll go ahead, cuck the Centaur plans, and then I'll try to... This one you'd have to be above water to do. Gonna make me kill the pygmy just because I can't get it out of my view. This is kind of a silly thing, but it's just to show that for once, like, I'm not gonna make a custom thumbnail for every single thing for this series, so let's just do one manually in the game. So that'll be like a, we have like a photo journal challenge. We have to take like every memorable shot from every perch in the game. That is something I would do like in Skyrim, where every time I would save it, if I'm out in the wild, I would try to save it in like some cool looking spot or with like a cool camera angle. Oh man, they're not giving me the right angle here. Damn it. Because yeah, even the dead body is kind of conspicuous. This has got to be the perfect angle you do it from. This is so dumb. Maybe you can go way further out like this. That does look pretty good. Or even, yeah, the aerial view is pretty good. sort of meditating on the techniques of swimming and so forth. We're learning to swim potentially for the first time because we lived in Valley of Trials the whole time or whatever. Caught between a rock and a hard place or whatever, the whole Scylla and Charybdis thing. Okay, that's good. Let's go and do the... There are a certain number of people here, but I guess it doesn't bother me. The main thing that bothers me is they try to help you. That's one thing you can't stop, right? It's another thing if they try to grief you or do like the infernal trick where they pull an infernal to Goldshire or something like that. I forget exactly how it works, but that is quite the troll. Yeah, we'll have to fight our way through some Scorpids and some Centaurs. And the end result of that will allow me to basically complete that quest. Then we should be off to Echo Isles. I'm surprised how well our damage is going, though, all things considered. All you have to do is get to level 10, and then you'll be comfortable. Don't try to fight too many things back to back, is a good rule of thumb. So we don't even have to kill the Kolkar. Although, you know what I should probably do since I'm so close to town? I should probably turn in the quest, and then it'd be like no auto-walking allowed either. I should turn in the quest so I have a little more space to work with. I'm being kind of stubborn with what I'm keeping because of the simple fact that some of it might be valuable for some kind of professions later. Like even the Scorpid Stinger is going to be a case where... I forget if there's actually a repair here. There probably is. But it's not like we're dying anyway, so it doesn't matter. How much durability could we possibly lose? Okay, sell this. Turn those two in, and everything else is good. See, like, all this food I arguably don't need, but all the little money and resources are going to be so valuable that if I do need it, or even to, like, feed it to my pet, we're saving a treat for them. Time is the true test of your strength and will. Lose patience or give in to weakness, and your true self will be shown. Well done, young one. Well done indeed. There's a lot of these utility items that could come in handy to stay alive, too. Unable to move for 10 seconds. It sounds like the kind of thing you could exploit in PvP, but like the little candle wax in Elwynn Forest, but I don't know how or if they even work that way. Use it in a duel. You can't use lay on hands in a duel, but you can use really sticky glue combined with... There was some other item like that we get from maybe a quest reward. Or like even this was awesome. Imagine if this was an equip thing. Use, or like a 2-minute cooldown, steal 75 to 125. Do you know how much damage that is, period, dude? So if we're ever about to die, we'll have that ready to go. At this low level, at least, it is relevant. Just don't allow stuff to aggro from somewhere you don't expect. This will be like our first scuffle with the Centaur since we fought them to rescue that guy. Assuming they have him surrounded, you know, he's begging for our help. That was like a little mini self-created dynamic quest. So let's thin these out. We can creep into there. There's nothing else really to use here. We got to be careful. See, this is where even backpedaling is fine. Like, what's the harm in backpedaling there? In single-player PvE, at least, it's not bad. It's like, where am I trying to go? Like, I'll run through him, but how does that help me? It arguably even hurts because it lets him hit me in the back, and it lets him... the abilities like this can really throw you off. They'll have all this kind of weird stuff that turns the tide of battle that aren't even real abilities, or... You know, even if a class has that, it'll work differently than the way the enemies does. Some of the values are so random, too. Like, oh, 31%. Like, why that exactly? Yeah, we don't even... I don't think you ever get a quest to kill these. Not that I'm the expert on horde leveling or quests, but... So it's basically a first playthrough of the horde, to an extent. It's also like a story playthrough, like, oh, read the quest text and stuff. It's also a melee-only hunter, 1 to 60 permadeath, and it's also the pet condition. So there's a lot of unique things that maybe nobody's done this exact thing before. Not even because, oh, it's so hard, but it's just interesting. I would like to do that with other classes, too, like create a custom class for mage, like, oh, you can only use arcane spells, so you'll have to do the whole experience, which might seem boring, but... I kind of like it from the perspective that you might have to be creative and come up with interesting ways to maximize that. Because you really only have arcane missiles. Arcane explosion isn't even viable because it's too mana expensive and it's just an AoE. But yeah, try to do that Blizzard AoE leveling technique that people would do in a permadeath thing. If you fuck up one time, you're just dead. You have to use your utility just to keep the thing going at times. Yeah, this is where they start to really tear through me. I haven't been using my racial very much, really. Yeah, who would have thought? I certainly didn't go into this expecting to do that, but then it was the perfect opportunity. We're not allowed to use those. We should just destroy it, but we'll sell it. Just in keeping with our belief system, we would say, oh, we're not even going to sell it, so anybody else can use it either. Gun control, by the way, escalation. The old defense that people always say, like, oh, guns should be banned, certain guns, because they're assault weapons and stuff. When the amendment was written, they didn't expect... when the Second Amendment was written, they didn't expect that we would have assault rifles and stuff. But they also didn't expect that the government would have tanks and jets and stuff. So you can't have it both ways, right? If the potential enemy or even enemy countries have more advanced weaponry too, the natural conclusion is the civilians should be able to have more advanced ones as well. So if you're using their writing as a basis, like, oh, based on the fact that we have muskets, the average person should be able to have something like that too. So based on the fact that, oh, they have tanks and jets and nuclear weapons, you should be able to have something a little better than just a dinky pistol if something does come down like that. And I don't even like the whole, oh, usurpacious government thing. What if it's just another country? Like, your country is so stupid that you don't trust your government, so then they get taken over by somebody else, and then what do you do if you can't rely on them? So it doesn't even have to be that sort of... conspiracy theorists that, oh my goodness, the government's going to turn against you, which of course it never does that. Just learn some 20th century history. Everybody's so naive all of a sudden, like, I don't know. Let's get one picture with the hut. See, I'm not really trying to farm for experience or anything either, and I won't be able to learn spells until Razor Hill, I don't think. So we'll be stuck with this for the time being. You might think, oh, it's going to be like one ability, Andy, we'll have Raptor Strike and Mongoose Bite, like the whole thing. Or we'll get Wing Clip too, speaking of which. But not only will a lot of it come down to our pet, but a lot of it will also be like, oh, we're a paladin, where, you know, paladins only have the seal and the judgment. That's like literally all you ever do. Consecration. Oh, shit. I said this can get you in trouble too. Oh, perfect time to level. Look how I planned that out. I knew he would aggro another one, so I planned that encounter such that we would level to get to max health. Not that I even really needed it. See how precious this potion is too, because I don't have the means to get another one. Your resources are going to be very limited, kind of like telling me to jump now, like I haven't been jumping like a clown all over the place the whole time. Yeah, that was maybe a little bit dangerous though, I will admit. Nice little ambiance of the ship moving around. Really getting distracted by the water, actually. But see, I'm learning how to swim to prepare for our arduous journey to the Echo Isles, which is an intimidating, scary place that we've been told to stay away from our whole lives. So these pygmies are kind of pissing me off, actually. What if we do it like this? Oh my god, the way that they just do that. I'm getting too obsessed with doing this. See, this is not the sort of thing I normally do, but... Oh my god, I had it. You want to show it like just up to the coastline where you can't see the coastline. So you're looking into the water of the reflection of your town and meditating on it. Okay. One of those times while trying to do that, I'm going to drown and not even notice. I swear to God. That'll be how... If I die, it'll be just something stupid like that. Yeah, we gotta foil the Centaur's plans. And we have to also... what else do we have out here? Don't care about Razor Hill, right? We're trying to go little one by one. Durotar Tigers. This will be like a boss battle to get the skull, maybe. Zalazane. So yeah, I'm not worried about spells either. Are they trying to ambush me from behind? I know the old technique. Somebody's creeping around here. I guess not. But see, now they'll start to respawn. So that was maybe a careless journey to the water that I shouldn't have just gotten so distracted. You gotta go in all sneaky like. They'll never notice. This is one of those immersion breaking elements. The fact that... Well, look how they trap you in there with the little bulge of the land. But no, they sort of... It would make sense that why wouldn't this guy help? And sort of the only in-universe explanation I can come up with is the fact that, well, there's other adventurers around too. Like, assuming you're always in a group or there's always other people around. So they have to worry about, like, I got to watch my own back, every man for themselves, because they're getting attacked here by some random orc shaman, and they're getting attacked by me, and they're getting attacked by somebody else. Just the way that the multiplayer space works. But if it was really just you against the world, why wouldn't all of these guys just come at you all at once? And that you can say that about most MMOs in general, or even a lot of single player games, but just sort of the aggro range. It maybe makes some sense with the animals, but when it's like a group like the Defias, they can communicate and say, hey, this guy's killing me, help me, dude. Or like they're afraid to leave their post, or Van Cleef will punish them or something. See, that could be very dangerous if he pulls another one. In fact, this part looks very scary. There must be a couple different huts. I still haven't decided on my professions, but I think mining and engineering could be good. And of course, engineering is a pain to level, but we made the best of it that we can, because I want to be like some kind of Batman Pokemon trainer hybrid will be the class we create here. I did it in Dark Souls. I can do it here. Like, just create your own custom classes and ideas behind them. I'm just afraid of my bag filling up. Yeah, there'll be these 3 little outposts. I guess I'll work my way backwards, even though that's kind of putting yourself at the mercy of them. You'll be surrounded if something goes wrong. At least trolls don't, or I mean hunters don't really have an ability that could get you fucked over. Or even if they did, you wouldn't be able to use it because it's going to involve the bow. But like, for example, like Psychic Scream or Intimidating Shroud or something, you could aggro a whole bunch of stuff by doing that. So you do it with good intentions. Yeah, all of these resources are going to be precious though, like the linen cloth and stuff. This guy looks like a Pat who might overextend here, so let's wait. This is like a single player dungeon experience where you do actually have to think about it a little bit. You certainly are going to have trouble with 2 of these. Did that guy respawn, or is he just a Pat? Let's actually... Oh, wow. There's a lot of movement of these guys. Let's ambush this guy with the cover of the tree. Actual genius gameplay. Out of line of sight. Try to get this outrunner from behind. Yeah, these areas I'm not as familiar with, obviously, as the Alliance ones. Although this guy's got a very long path that he follows. Try to get it in between here while on the clock. I should probably use my racial more. Like, why not? He tries to ambush us from behind, but we're too quick for him. I don't want to get rid of that outrunner, too, before I forget. Yeah, any instance like that. Like, what if all 3 of those Pats converged on me at once? This guy from here, that guy from there, the outrunner coming back. That would be the sort of thing that could get you killed. Especially if they daze you and stuff, too. And they do debuffs like that. Where is he? I want him. We were using this little tree as our ambush funnel point. You'll see the dead body. Play like it's a stealth game because they are basically blind. Oh, here we go. He's rubbing the bow thing in our face, but we show him the true value of our skills here. Oh, this guy's pretty strong, though. What the fuck? You never want to let yourself get too low, either, or they'll finish you off with, like, some kind of instant spell. Crazy thing that does way more than you expect. So I'm a little bit nervous about this. That is totally what's going to happen. It'll be like some earth shock crazy thing that you don't even know they have that ability, that like the Defias Pillagers that do X amount. But at least that you can see them casting it. Not like you can really do anything about it, though. That is one of the most jacked out damage values, because you look at like level 40 and 50 casters who only do like 200, 300 damage, but then a level 19, 20, whatever, 15 Defias Pillager is doing like 70 or something. There was something weird about that damage value. I guess that guy was a level 8, so that's a little bit scary. You know, you should pull this guy away so that we're able to deal with the fact that he runs away. And it's the perfect combo, because they'll run away and then they'll be harder to finish off because of this. You can kind of time it and stop killing them until that runs out, assuming he won't do it again. This is kind of a satisfying thing to use, though, because it's not like Heroic Strike where you can just do it, you know, all the time. This is like you actually do it on cooldown, so it makes it feel more like an actual ability. Like, why would you ever not be spamming Heroic Strike unless you need Rage for something else, I guess, but... And of course, your mana's never going to run out just from this, even if I tried to. Your bow spells are going to take up way more damage. I don't really know what other melee abilities you really get, though. Like, the whole point is, oh shit, I thought he was running away there. I almost am thinking, oh, I should go survival, but we might have to go beast mastery because I don't know if there's some repeatable attack, melee attack in survival that's really good. I actually forgot. Now, this is very dangerous if that guy aggroes, and sometimes they're designed in such a way to do that, even if they're not within aggro range, right? Two guys are tied to the chest, or two guys are tied to a particular point. No matter what, you'll aggro them. The biggest concern in a spot like this could be respawn. Something gets you from behind that you're not paying attention. This is why I always did this camera flick in these runs. I would always look behind me. Cool guys don't look at explosions, but it is one of those things you have to be very wary. This guy was super strong, so you should almost use the racial to kill them, because that could be taken out of context in a weird way. No, like, this one doesn't cause you to take more damage the way that the orc one does. So there'll be one attack plan here. There's 3 huts, pretty straightforward. Yeah, the other one really teared into me. I guess the only difference might have just been that we used the ability. They're getting me like half, so you gotta watch out. We're the same level, so see, levels make such a big difference. That's why I always said the rule of 2, not the one to do with Sith and the Jedi and whatnot in Star Wars, but the one to do with fight stuff 2 levels below you, or at least never go 2 higher. Where even is it? Water barrel. See, like, stuff like this could come in handy. The way of water. Let's meditate in here. Is that actually a command? Or like just ponder? Mourn his death. Okay, there's the quest item. Let's see how valuable these sorts of things are going to be. I feel like I never really worried about looting stuff like this normally. I mean, when are you really going to need that? But again, I want to keep everything for now. And then once we get to the bank and Orgrimmar, that'll be a whole nother event. See, like, every area is going to be like a whole episode. The last episode was Valley of Trials. This episode is Sen'jin Village. The next episode will be Attack Plan Orgrimmar. I wish I'd let you look at them in more detail. What could, yeah, really, what could level 8 cold cars really be planning to do to Orgrimmar, dude? Do you know how hard that shit is to organize as a human mage who actually tried doing stuff like that? To raid, like, the capital cities? That was actually super hard to do. You have to get, like, 3-4 guilds together, because one isn't gonna, 60 people is not gonna do jack shit, or you have to kind of sneak in there. 60 rogues, 40 rogues, I mean. Yeah, first episode was Valley of Trials. Second episode, Sen'jin Village. Then the third episode could be like Razor Hill. Where did this guy come from? Or he actually did just respawn, which tells you that maybe other stuff could respawn too. You should always have a reserve in case something else aggroes, right? This guy shouldn't get me to like 1 health where I can just barely kill him. You should be very comfortable. You should have the racial, stuff like that. Whenever you have to aggro multiple things at once, that's what's really going to scare me. Now, he could aggro that one. That was a big mistake. Not saying that running away isn't allowed, but it's still dishonorable. Then the 4th episode could be Orgrimmar. We'll go check out Brill. We'll go from take the Zeppelin. I wanted to check out all 3 cities, but let's see, now you can out of range them. Shoot us in the back like the dishonorable coward you are. Give us PTSD of our pet as a kid getting killed inadvertently by our parent. That's why we vowed never to use such vile weaponry ourselves. Okay, we got to take out the pad as well. So I'm not even doing this to pad experience and stuff. Oh, look at this. I'm worried. I'm worried. Although I don't think he would aggro from here. Because, yeah, they're going to totally do some shock ability. Literally, like an earth shock or something. Right at the end when you least expect it. So getting yourself that low is very uncomfortable. Of course, once we get to level 10 and get the pet, it's going to be much easier to just... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Why did I do that? Okay, use the racial. That was a very bad decision. Going in with half HP, we'll call that one the Witcher. It's not going to end the same way, surely. With plenty of healing items in my bag, too. I don't think I've eaten a single thing either. I'm on a fast until I get my pet, for whatever reason that matters. If we're not feeding a pet, we don't deserve to eat ourselves. How about that? Or we can only eat as many pieces of food. Yeah, let's expand the format to be even more arbitrary and specific. We can only eat as many pieces of food as we feed to our pet. Although they can be kind of gluttonous, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal. You have an Outrunner, Outrunner, Outrunner. This one's very scary if you were to aggro multiple. This enemy type is, in fact, very concerning. Of course, you think of them maybe more as shamans than as... The sound they make is kind of weird. Than as archers. I don't know what class they're really supposed to be. They are supposed to be a hunter, I guess. In fact, they do less with range than they seem to do with melee, or it's similar. Kind of rubbing in my face that I can't use it, though. Hardcore. It doesn't even let you access that, though. Don't let him run away and aggro another one. There's no reason to leave that much space or leave that little space between you. Yeah, this whole half HP thing, though, is making me very nervous. So I'm not going to know all... Oh, my God. All these little abilities. Now, this guy must be a pet or something. Otherwise, how would we have killed him before? Over here. We haven't even been here yet. It's all good, though. Just don't get killed by a pat behind you. I so wish they would have made like a single player open world RPG in this setting. You know, not unlike they could have made Warcraft 4 in the first place, but they didn't even do that. But like, you could literally just take like Kalimdor alone and turn that into a huge open world game and kind of try to recreate it one-to-one as much as possible, but then try to improve the mechanics. Like, instead of tab targeting and auto attacking, it would be more hands-on, like Dark Souls or like something like that, where I have this habit where I'll sometimes move with the keyboard and the mouse at the same time. Like now I'm hitting W and E and moving, and my mouse is clicked in. I don't know why, really. Oh, I thought I got him there. I'm not even allowed to use throwing stuff, so everything's got to be melee or through the pet. So, of course, using a pet that has range could be a good consideration for sure, but there is a pet on the loose there. I don't like how close he is to the other guy, though. Let's kind of slow pace him a little bit. Come like this. You should be safe. I don't like these pats lurking around behind me, though. It does make me nervous. Of course, there is no rule against doing dungeons, but you would have to do them yourself. So you can solo Wailing Caverns at level 30 if it really makes you happy. And if you're going to get... What's ironic is that could actually be relevant because you might get an item that... You know, that Malachite's going to be absolutely precious, dude. We'll have to save it for engineering because this might be the best we can get. So we got to be careful about the looting situation here. I might just throw out some food if I feel like that's going to be the case. This guy's the final boss of the second camp. Each camp operates on its own conditions, so they don't like to help each other out as a sense of honor and rivalry to push themselves forward. And where's the plan? They're kind of inconspicuous. Don't step in the fire. It'd be hilarious if something like that kills you, because it does do a certain amount of damage. It's supposed to be the way of water, not the way of fire. I think they're introducing that in the third part too, like the Fire Clan. Like, what is this, the last Airbender kind of shit? Okay, make sure that we're not missing anything too valuable. So the food is expendable because we can always just fish more stuff up. So that is a very specific decision I'm making that maybe isn't that big of a deal. The rest of it I might not be able to get, or I won't want to waste my money on in the first place. Yeah, we'll make a point to do these professions a little bit too. Let me kill the pet and then I'll work my way back to the first one. Kind of an interesting way to do it. From back to front. And this guy's going to be a pet as well. Let's see if we can kill this guy before he gets to us. The tree is kind of a great central vantage point to be able to see everything going on. See, who really has thought about this dinky random questing area to this extent? But this is what it kind of encourages you to do. Use the tree as cover, line of sight. Although I don't think it actually works to stop the bowman from shooting you. But what it does do is it allows you to kind of get a central position and see where all the paths are. Although, like I said, the downside is they could converge on your location all together at the same time. These ones are very loud compared to the other ones. See, this is scary. I mean, look how strong he is. He's very, very threatening. He won't reduce my accuracy, at least, and I don't think they really do cast spells. There's so many enemies that have mana bars that don't ever use them, right? Even though he shot the bow at me, he didn't use like an arcane shot or something of the sort. Or there's like a lot of weird hybrid class NPC enemies that they use abilities that are mixed between different classes that you couldn't normally do. Like whatever that one ascension thing is that maybe you're not even allowed to say. I always say that they're unofficial and you shouldn't play on them though. At least as long as they have the official one out, especially, but it is kind of weird to, you know, Blizzard wanting to have it both ways. Just like you can't play on any other servers, but we're not going to give you the server that you want either. You think you do, but you don't. kind of a good example of how I sometimes speak in riddles. Like, people took that title too literally, or the thumbnail. I'm like, J. Allen Brack was right, but not in the literal sense that you would think. Like, of course people wanted them to be re-released, and so much so that they released all 3 first expansions, Vanilla, BC, and Wrath. But what I meant was in a more subtle way, like, he was right about the way that people thought they wanted the kind of design that they had here, but they really didn't. Because if they really did, then they wouldn't be playing the current game in the first place. Or, you know, modern games are very different. This does have such an old school RPG feel to it. Although it is, you know, simplified and casualized to an extent. So now all we have to do is just finish off this one, which is very intimidating. This guy's sort of semi-padding. Yeah, so that's one thing that really cucks you too, is the inability to pull stuff. So even once I get my pet, if I send my pet in there, he's going to aggro all 3. That was a good pull. And we got to watch out from respawns. Like, what if the Outrunner Pat spawns, like, right here? How would I know that, and how would I prepare for it and prevent it? I guess I could just run away. I do have a potion, and potions can obviously crit and stuff too, which is interesting. Or we'll use some kind of swifty PvP moment, or whatever that people would do. We'll use, like, an engineer bomb to stun the enemy in order to use a bandage while in combat. All this stuff is important to keep. I think I'm okay with not keeping the food, like, honestly. Because we can always just get more. I hate to waste the food. We even have all that food that we're bringing over to Razor Hill, which is this. Yeah, we're totally on a fast. We're not allowed to eat. So we'll keep the water. We'll keep this food because it's like a food buff, because that's really going to matter. This thing is not an upgrade, although you'd be surprised how often we're going to get ones like that, especially in the early game. And then the other thing is, yeah, we can always just get fish. There's no rule against fishing to get food or using any sort of thing like that. This guy is going to be a pat, but maybe he's not going to be an issue. Let's save the racial for the guy in the hut, who's probably going to be an outrunner. Or like an in-runner, though, because why is he indoors? For some reason, I thought they'd be more like shamans than hunters. He's going to do the little runaway technique, which is not something I should really allow. That sort of spacing and pulling them away just before they do is very important. You're gonna have a chest here too. Oh, that was a bad time to pull him. Very bad. Might have to make up for it using the ability here, actually. Forget about using it on the outrunner. Big mistake. Yeah, your health comes back so fast at this point that it barely even matters. I'm kind of annoyed by this situation because I can't justify getting rid of anything. I kind of needed to use the racial there too. I was in trouble. We should kill the outrunner first. I don't really want to come back here, but there's going to be something in the chest that I'm going to want, or I kind of want everything at this point. Every little bit of money is important. So maybe I could go to town, sell it, come back. I mean, that's what our pet could do, like in Torchlight, where they went so far as to give you a pet just to send back to town to be able to... These always feel like the boss fight, but there are several outrunners you fight besides that. This guy's only level 7. Like, you know, you send the pet back to town while you're out adventuring, so you never have to go back to town just to clear out your bags. It's kind of making a joke out of how much unnecessary loot they give you, though, in those kind of games. It's way too much. Like, at least here, if I get, like, a green to drop, wow, that's actually going to be an upgrade, and it's going to last me a while. There's not really much flavor to these plans. You don't pick them up. You don't see what they say. Was there a thing of water like this in all 3? I should have meditated in the middle one, too. All these little side quests, RP objectives that I'm going to do. Okay, that'll stack. And the food I don't need, so I guess I'm comfortable with accepting that. Darnassian Blue, yeah, like the Horde really should be happy with eating stuff like that anyway. Who would hate the Night Elves most, anyway? I feel like the Night Elves would be on best terms with most of the races because they're all about, you know, everybody likes Malfurion and he's trying to preserve the peace, and, you know, what he did to protect the World Tree was so important. Brawl and Jaina had like a little fling. I don't like this whole jumping habit, but I can't really help it. I think I stood in the water there. Yeah, we should try to fish in the barrel. Now I'm going to be like a little bit over leveled up. Yeah, I can't remember if I did that or not, actually. Whatever. So we're level 8, and you only have to be level 10 to have a pet, but I don't know exactly when you get the quest to do it. For some reason, I almost feel like it's in the Barrens, which would be totally wild. You might have to go all the way there to actually complete the quest, or to pick it up, or you'll probably get it in like Orgrimmar or something. Or maybe you get it in Razor Hill. Maybe I'm overestimating how hard it is to do. This little rock structure makes me concerned, like somebody's behind it. I was getting this like little weird motion blur on the last episode, so I kind of changed the settings. I messed around with stuff. So for example, I want to see if this one's better. That is going to sell for a decent amount. There's nothing I can really get rid of. I guess we can always buy more of the baubles. Presumably this will sell more than 2 of them are worth. So unless there's a ton of water on the Echo Isles, I shouldn't really need to worry about fishing too much either. I turned in that one quest. I got the sticky glue. I really just need them to drop a bag, which they're not doing. Right, like these low leveling zones are super rife with, you'll get like 3 bags back to back just to give you the little starting slot ones. They have like a super high jacked out drop rate, or maybe just for new characters. I don't know exactly how they determine it. Okay, he's gonna run away. This guy didn't blind me. Yeah, I arguably shouldn't need those things, but for the time being, it's very stingy. That guy almost got me over the hill. That was a good little jump scare. Fight your way through here. Yeah, now let's work our way to the Echo Isles, and then I get to... I don't think I'll get the pet today even, so... Today is all about learning how to swim and learning how to fish, let's say. Even the Scorpion Stingers will be relevant for, like... first aid or something that might be worth keeping. Anything that's white, you should arguably just keep. You turn this in. What else do I have? A lot of this stuff has to do with Razor Hill. So for example, Razor Hill. This will be Echo Isles. This will be turned in. This will be Echo Isles, Echo Isles. So yeah, that's pretty much it. They're going to send me to the Echo Isles by force now. Which, of course, the trolls would be doing that stuff, too. It has nothing to do with really being a troll. But there, they'd explain it, like, help our troll brothers out.
Hello, man.
I won't be able to do that because you're not giving him anything back. Or even if you are, sometimes they still won't do it first. I forget exactly how that works. Like, your bag is full, so he can't take the item and give you something in its place. Did I fish in this one? Wait a second. Wasn't there another body of water? Oh, I guess this one doesn't show up because of that. How interesting. I guess you don't always need to use a bauble to do that, but that is kind of a quest that I would like to do. A self-made imaginary quest. Sell this, don't sell that. Sell that. Yeah, some of this stuff is going to wear on me a little bit. 2.9, 3.8. What was the other one then? Oh, I guess there wasn't. Yeah, we're keeping that only because of the food buff potential. All this stuff is fine. Gonna be a lot of inventory management, even just for the RP of it. Let's look at... Oh, here we go. This guy aggroed last time from out there. Let's just take care of him ahead of time. He just kind of look at you and he wouldn't try to come through the town, but... We're going to look in the shop if there's a better weapon, because this is actually the best we're going to get for now. Yeah, we'll get super lucky and get like a BOE blue or like some kind of crazy thing that you wouldn't be able to get normally. Let's see if we can't parkour this. Maybe you can't. Walk around like a regular person. Yeah, let's buy a couple more fishing baubles, which that other guy by the water doesn't actually sell. He's missing out. They do put like some of the vendors and trainers in weird spots, but somewhat they kind of make sense, right? Like he should be by the water instead of just in a convenient hub. So that's the sacrifice you sometimes have to make as a designer. Like, do you want it to feel more immersive, or do you want it to feel... Let's keep a whole bunch of these, although again, keeping them in there because of the space could be trouble.
Talk to
He does have a repair capability. I'm wasting some of the money that I've worked so hard to get. This I can't afford, but it's the one that I'm using. Quiver, what's that? I don't think I can even use any of these other things. I don't have to worry about it. Although you can use some pretty weird weapons as a hunter. In fact, I think you can use almost everything besides a dagger. I'm not really too familiar with the class, to be honest with you. And like, why would you? Like, you can totally use a staff, even as a warrior, you can do that. It'd be easy as a warrior to roleplay as anybody. Didn't land in fishable water. There must be a way to do it. Oh shit, I screwed it up. It was too shallow in some spots. It doesn't land in other spots. Yeah, we did all the ones inside of the little cave there with the vile familiars. Those are the ones that are going to be the hardest to find because most of these on the overworld will at least show up on the map. And like every coast could count as just like one. It's not like you have to go to every spot on the coast. Like this is one whole thing, right? So even Senjin Village, we've already done this. Unless you want to consider the, whatever this river is called, Wild Fury River or something. That could be separate. But yeah, I would do that in Hillsbrad. Like I would go up and down and fight the turtles and just sort of farm them for experience. A little bit of grinding I would do, so that's good. Oh, I didn't even use the bauble, or I did. Plus 25. It's not like you have to use it. I act like you can't even fish at all without it. That guy didn't give me another quest, or I didn't even do it. We get that face. Beautiful. Yeah, we're totally going to do like a Pokemon Snap experience too. We got to take a picture of everything cool in the world. Of course, that yellow text would show up there too if you... The one that says everything is hidden. That could be a thumbnail right there. Or that could be an emo by today's reactionary lowest common denominator standards. Yeah, I think all they want me to do now is the Echo Isles, and they kind of gave me all the quests at once. Normally, it would be like a chain. Like, you have to kill the tigers first, then you kill Zalazane later, or it works your way up. The Horde would surely prevail if the Kolkar Sentries were to attack. But, by preventing such an attack, we have spared our mighty warriors unnecessary bloodshed. And as sure as there is sand in the Tanaris Desert... See, I like all these references they make. You don't know what Tanaris is yet if you're a new player. Then you look on the map and find it like, wow, I can't wait till we get there. It's actually pretty close. Well, all these desert regions kind of feel like, you know, how many of these are actually deserts? This is a desert. This is a desert. This is kind of a desert. The Barrens is a desert. Like, that's all you have. Desolates became a desert. This feels kind of like that. It's mountain range. Like most of Kalimdor is a very similar biome. We just interrupt our conversation rudely to look at the map. We know that there will be blood spilled before these trying times are through. Couldn't you just say as sure as there is sand in Durotar or anywhere else? I mean, I guess it's more rocky than sandy, but 8. Okay, upgrade for the cape. Stay away from the voodoo, even though that's what trolls are kind of known for. Maybe incorrectly stereotyped. But isn't that even like Vol'jin is known for that? He is like a witch doctor. Witch doctor in training. Stay away from the voodoo, by the way.
You be feeling well?
No way.
Take care of that Zalazane and I'll fix you right up. Okay, so we can sell these two. I mean, again, the fish you can get anytime you want, so you don't really need to keep them on you. That would be one way. Like, I could just get infinite money right now. Just keep fishing and just keep selling the fish, and then you'll be able to buy anything from the NPC vendors that you could ever want. A strong fishing pole. You know, this is like a rare one-off item that you might never be offered again, so you should get it, but I don't have enough money. Maybe we save for that. Increased fishing +5. That is actually kind of worth it. And what's funny is the damage value on that is actually amazing. So what if I don't know how actually fighting with the fishing pole works. It feels kind of silly though. Like, this isn't Ganondorf and Twilight Princess, dude. We don't need a fishing pole in combat. Whereas I would never use it there either. But like, we can get both of these in one shot, or the grass kind of screws it up. I'm totally turning into a cameraman RP now. I forget where those even save to. Yeah, I don't know what this place is. We've never seen it before. Never see it again. Yeah, we have 3 quests on the Echo Isles. We have to get the skull, we have to kill Salazane, and we have to... Oh, that includes the sort of one that could be a build-up quest to it, which would be like just kill a bunch of the Hex trolls and whatnot. You see, like, even this pose looks beautiful. That's perfect. Sometimes that happens organically better than when you try to shoot it. Yeah, our first time visiting the Echo Isles. Maybe it's my first time ever. I don't really remember doing these exact quests. Everyone's doing hardcore. I love that. 2 people need a gimmick to be able to do it. You know how you do hardcore. Just do it anyway, like I did. Not even saying like, oh, I'm flexing or bragging about doing it. It's like, I do permadeath of stuff all the time. You don't need... Now, you could do some crazy burst of damage. That was actually my first pet that I ever got when I leveled 100 to 25 when I first started playing the game. It was an Orc Hunter, and I had one of the raptors. Not this one, but one of the ones from Deeper and Durotar. And that's pretty much all I ever did. Then at level 25, for some reason, I decided to re-roll to Alliance, and then I became a human, and then a mage, and the rest is history because... Can I just, like, leave general chat, dude? Yeah, like, why would I ever need to see that anyway? Or, like, I'll leave trade chat when I'm in town. I could almost just hide this altogether. Or you should just do, like, this. You can kind of see what exactly is happening. Because what's going to happen here that's going to be... I don't know. It does kind of make sense. You can kind of assess the damage values over time and see, like, what's critical, what's glancing. Why is he getting so many glancing blows? For the same level, like, why is this guy tearing me apart so badly? He's trying to earn my respect, so we get one of his kind as our pet later. Like, he's trying to impress us and say, oh, that we should totally... This is totally what we should tame. Durotar Tiger could be a good pick as well. A lot of options here. Oh, here we go. I'm really underestimating how much health I keep losing in these fights. What it's going to be is spam one button, but then again, that's how even rating was at times. Like, just spam Frostbolt, which I hated to do. I always wanted to play Fire, but I couldn't because everything was immune to it. I always wanted to play Arcane, but I couldn't because you kind of didn't have enough abilities. There was no Arcane Blast or anything. But when Wrath came, that was such a brilliant decision. They actually added finally an Arcane ability that you could use. And then at that point, I don't think I did play as it as much, or I did a little bit. Yeah, that's what's interesting. I always played a mage in vanilla and BC, and then in Wrath, I reroll to a warrior just because I was tired of being so squishy and I wanted to be like more a tank. And then I made the warrior my main and the mage my alt. Whereas before, I didn't even have like a full level alt. I don't think I got a character to max level besides the mage. And then for some reason, I got a Death Knight to max level 2. But it was just so easy to do because you start at 55 and there's such a face roll experience. And I loved the fact that you would kind of just tear through people in Hellfire Peninsula and stuff. I would just troll and outland. Not that I was really meaning to, but these I'm mostly killing just to clear some space so we don't get killed when we kill the tigers here, which is our only objective to do with these. And I guess I'm just exploring the area too. See if there's anything interesting. We found some water, which clearly that doesn't matter. There's water everywhere, idiot. Like, what was that line from? Like Tourette's guy where... Oh yeah, watch your language. There's ladies here. He's like, there's ladies everywhere, dumbass. At the bowling alley. Yeah, I'm not even going to be able to learn any spells for a while till I get to like level 10 probably in Razor Hill. I love the reflective quality. I'm sure it wasn't like that at all in the original game. Or it's not like I didn't even play Classic since it re-released, so you'd think I should know that, but... There's a lot of dinky small isles before you get to the real ones. That's a big one, that's a big one, that's a big one. So there's this little one that we checked out. Or wait. I think I checked out both of those, so I want to check out that one. And are there any more in this direction? It's almost like I have this compulsion to kill every single enemy that we see. Like, we got to clear out this aisle, kill, you know, the stragglers. I feel like the grass kind of stands out a bit too much. That's one thing I don't like about the higher graphic setting. It was never this conspicuous and sort of ostentatious grass. 0 out of 10 IGN review. Grass is too ostentatious. Oh my fucking god, where did he come from? I can use the potion, and by which I mean I have to use it. I have to use it. Can they swim? Oh, I could have just used that to my advantage. Learn the way of water, that you can use that to cheese enemies and save yourself. I learned how to swim and they didn't. And I wasted the potion, but it's okay. How far do I have to go before they reset? That was at least a good reaction. I didn't hesitate. You'd rather use the potion than end up dead. That's all it would take to really get you killed. Okay, we did that just to show that tactic of being able to go in the water. Of course, even if they could chase me, I would have just kept going. See, this is also the complaint about the grass. I really couldn't see or anything because there's so much foliage around him. He kind of blended in. Not even in terms of his color, but just... Look how big some of... Like, this is bigger than both of us combined. Like, what? Just random fucking grass. It's way too conspicuous. Or, like, all this doesn't normally look like that. It's the one sense of honor that beasts actually have, though, over people, is they won't run away like cowards. They'll fight you to the very end. Like a wounded deer leaps highest. Now we could start to actually eat some stuff. If I wanted some food, I could totally do this and just... I feel like I am going to need to do that. Alright, the problem is my inventory is so shrunk down and nothing is dropping any bags for me. I'll end up becoming a tailor just to remedy that issue. Nice, relaxing fishing stream. ASMR fishing. This is why MMOs are so conducive to like almost just chatting content. You don't need a just chatting category. You can just play chess and talk about random stuff. Or you can just play something like this. So your attention isn't 100% on the game. It's just... The problem is this might give me two different kinds. So I have to decide on one of them. Right, the sort of slender fish like this. Or maybe even 3 different kinds I've seen so far. You can keep a mental log, but that's why it's beautiful that we have it on video, so we can see that we caught every fish possible in the game. And there's something like super rare that you can always get from fishing, but I forget what it is. Or maybe that... See, I always confuse stuff too between expansions and all. Or maybe I should try to fight this guy with the... No, I should fight like a critter with the fishing pole to see. But you can always change in combat too, like let's see. Just to see because of the damage value on the other thing, even though I can't use my ability. How much is it going to do? 12. It's doing basically the same amount as mine. Of course, it's two-handed, and because the other one has a higher top-end damage than mine, so arguably you could do that. That feels kind of like immersion breaking, though. Just whack them with your fishing pole. You got to use all the tools in your tool belt, which I love. I'll replace having class abilities to use because they'll all be ranged with my engineering toolkit. Which seems completely fair to do because it'll be very limited by the fact that... Now this will break my immersion too, just the fact that other people are going to kill stuff. So there's one little tiny island I want to do, and then we have the big 3. To be very careful. I even have the beast tracking, so that was kind of inexcusable that I pulled 2 things at once. This is the last one on the island. They have a kind of a low drop rate for the fur. So it's kind of a false sense of comfort that it gives you that, oh, you only have to get 4 of them. But it could have easily been like get 20 of them, but just do it with a 100% drop rate. I'm going to end up killing more than that just by getting 4. Colored Fang. Okay, fortunately, at least those stack. I can always get rid of the fish, but a lot of this other stuff I feel kind of apprehensive about. It is actually pretty helpful in a case like this because you know they're not going to be all over the place, like in the water. Or even most of the stuff in the water is aggressive, not aggressive. Just the Makura shell guys who almost you could associate with N'Zoth and Ajara and stuff like that. The same way that Murlocs seem so innocent and cute at times, but then they're bloodthirsty fiends who are working for the old gods, in a manner of speaking. Or Neptulon or whatever. Yeah, those are the mortal enemies of some of the races. They seem so badass, don't they? Murlocs almost took out trolls and they had to be saved by the orcs. Or orcs rivals were the... Well, I don't know. like Tauren's rivals are the centaurs, trolls are the murlocs. Like, is that really badass? Is that something you should really have to worry about? Or even for the humans, like the gnolls were such a big issue during one of the wars. Like the humans were being pushed back by the gnolls, and that allowed the what was her name, Garona, to kill King Lane or whatever. I forget exactly the details of it, but it was something like that. They were locked in combat with the gnolls, so they had no idea what was to come next. Those are the three least impressive examples. The Taurens almost got extincted by mere centaur. The trolls almost got extincted by murlocs, and the humans almost got extincted by gnolls. It's not like, oh, that's just some random enemy type there. It's like their key race rival. And the Taurens are kind of obscure in lore too. Like, you don't even really know too much about them or their origins, or at least at the outset. What is it? It is a stone arrowhead. Maybe I should buy these by the single, because it's not like, you know, there's no water on the Echo Isles, that means. And I like how it maps that part, even though you haven't been there yet. The only one I didn't go to were the bottom two. The last one was actually hidden by the first one. I didn't realize there were two of them. You have to go here, here, and then we'll go to these two as well. Work our way from the smallest isle to the biggest. And the Durotar quest is still there, but it went away because of how long it's been since I got one. This would be like the longest single player game playthrough if it was a single player game. Almost as long as Skyrim. But you can't play it as much like a true open world experience because of the whole level aspect. You'll go fight something that's way higher level than you and get screwed. Oh, those actually stack? That would be the sort of thing I would assume doesn't stack. So some hunter failed to kill it and you're picking it up off its dead body. Maybe. Nothing else on this isle. Blood Talon Lasher, but how? He's like right on the coastline. It's almost tempting me to try to get a raptor, but whichever enemy comes closest to killing me is the one I'll get. How about that? Which it was almost a raptor before. I actually can't decide. What would I want to get? Raptors are meant to be mounts in troll culture, so why should we have one as our pet too? I mean, it's just a matter of what you think will sell for more at this point. I kind of wasted a potion. I mean, if it's gray, you don't have to worry about it too much, but at least this stuff will stack, so maybe I'll go for that purpose. I can't imagine why I'd really want a random dagger like that. Wait, where did he go? It was totally bugging out, or maybe somebody else killed him. Okay, we'll check out this aisle, then we'll check out the two at the bottom, and then we'll go to the main one. Hopefully in the process, we'll get the tiger skins before we get there. But then we'll focus on the Hex Trolls and the whatever, Zalazane. So it takes the Trolls like 3 expansions to finally get their homeland back. Nice little sneak attack. These guys can fight you on land though, so there's no real, you know, way to escape that way. The way I escaped from the tiger and stuff by going in the water. I still don't think I would have necessarily died because I was just going to run away anyway. Not only is that allowed, but it's often one of the only ways to stay alive. Random copper. That's always funny in games. Like, why do these random beasts who are fighting me out in the wild have money on them? Maybe they ate it just because, oh, it's shiny and it looks pretty, so they thought it was food or something. I don't even know how you'd explain it. I'm fighting too many of the raptors, to be honest with you. I kind of want to explore these isles to actually see what is on them. Maybe there's something of interest. The enemy density is pretty high, though. At least you don't have to worry about them calling for help or running away. See, even the Makura Clacker runs away in fear, but these guys don't. So that is still a humanoid. But they don't have enough of their allies around to help them. Oh, boy. This is a bad decision. I might just run away. Now I'm going into combat too much when I don't have the adequate health to do it. That's the thing. Or like I could probably kill him, but I don't even want to try it. I end up aggroing something else. These are... Or you can always just use the water. I don't know why I'm not using that more. I just feel bad. is to be very aware of what kind of things can swim and what can't. I do forget how that works. For some reason, I thought it wouldn't even matter with those, and they would just chase me. Okay, so we don't have to kill this. That's what kind of scares you and throws you off with respect to the map. It's like, sure, there'll be all kinds of things around you, but only certain ones are going to be hostile. This is where I'd love having the fishing stuff for food. Now, I almost made the same mistake again. I still wasn't at full health. We're going to end up having to use the racial for every single encounter. But as soon as we get the pet, it's going to be smooth sailing for a while. And then it'll become hard again later. Just because of the simple fact that, you know, it's going to expect you to have better gear from dungeons and stuff over time. I mean, maybe I should get used to fishing without the lure. Or we still even have it on. Not that I'm so impatient that I can't wait for the health to come back, but my main problem right now is space. I just don't have bags. I swear to God, normally in all these experiences, I always would get plenty of bags just to drop in these low-level zones. Okay, go like this. The Hunter's Mark doesn't really do anything for you aside from just maybe point out where the enemy is. But as far as only ranged attack power, which we don't have any such thing, unless one of our pets counts as that, but most of them is going to be like they're casting magic or something. Yeah, those actually do stack, so those kind of items are worth keeping. Even over like a gray shield or something that tend to sell for a decent amount. So the goal of this is also to get to 9 silver, so that we're able to buy that special fishing pole. Assuming it's still there when we get back, because that's one of those rare limited item things. One of the advantages maybe of a dead server, but at least I think that's how it would work. Like, there's so many things I've forgotten. I mean, it's not like a game that I play every single day. So when I played it a lot, but... And it's sort of the thing where I deliberately keep myself in the dark. I won't say I didn't look anything up about it, but I certainly did. That's only the second one, dude. I'm fighting too many of these raptors. But see, when you want to explore, you kind of have to. Because how else would I get around? Some of these things can be punishing. Yeah, see, when they first aggro, they hit for 33. Like, some of the boars can do that. And it's hard to really deal with that unless you just try to run away at the beginning. We can go ahead and eat the fish. Maybe I'll just start not picking stuff up unless it's really relevant, so... I mean, this will just make it harder to catch stuff, but it doesn't mean that I won't be able to. Let's actually make a proper stack of this, I guess. Put it on, like... I don't know, here or something? Where would I normally put it? Probably in the equal sign on the second bar. Oh, really? It's going to make me wait that long. There's got to be the same type, though. That's the problem that's going to mess me up. Yeah, it barely makes a difference. Probably just because I've leveled it so much already. If you were fishing 1 without it, then you'd be screwed. Delayed reaction. I'm trying to see how long it forgives you for that. It's pretty generous. Nice little view of the horizon and the coast. And I mean, this is the whole edge of Kalimdor. Like, now you just look across to the Eastern Kingdoms. Like, there's nothing else there. Or, like, whatever weird bullshit they tried to add later. Like, oh, Pandaria, which is covered by fog. How convenient. Because we had one Panda unit in Warcraft 3 that justifies the whole expansion. And what else would be out there? I guess I'm kind of looking at the wrong angle. The Maelstrom. Probably did something with that in Cataclysm that I don't even know. There's just so much cool lore that they sort of threw to the wayside, and instead to make way for all this other dumb shit just to pad the length of the series. That's one of the biggest problems with any story is, like, whether it be Star Wars or something, Harry Potter now is getting a TV show. I'm getting lucky by only getting those ones. At least if it was something else, I wouldn't be able to loot it, but it would still show up. Like the frog ones or whatever. Although maybe it matters. Now that we're out in, like, the salt water, you won't see frogs. But you see those more in, like, the little ponds. That would actually... Damn, that actually makes a lot of sense. I didn't think about it that way. We learned something new. They even have pond in the name, I think. So these ones are at the sea. But those ones are only in the puddles, like in town or around, like, a lake or something. Oh, really? I didn't get any. That's pretty rare. Yeah, by the time we leave Sen'jin Village, we should have upgraded our fishing, which we only have to get it to 50 to do that. Oh, wow. So it really depends where you fish, I guess, to get them. It shows you what an expert I am on that. And they used to have these fishing tournaments like in Stranglethorn Vale to, yeah, it should be permadeath fishing challenge. If I miss one of these, I lose. I have to delete my character. Delete my fishing pole at least. Permadeath within a permadeath. It's partly a randomizer because of the looting. You'll never know what you're going to get. Here, let's do this. Come on. We just do it now. Get it to 50. Or at least we're trying to get a full stack of food and just accept the fact that we might not be able to loot things for a while, which I hate to do because any amount of money here is precious. So I'm going to spend 9 precious silver on a goddamn fishing pole, but that is going to serve me well probably in the long run. And it is my highest best in slot damage thing that I can get right now, at least in this area. Even that's very subjective though to say best in slot, because maybe there's something in the Brill shop or, you know, in an Undercity shop or whatever, even outside of the auction houses and stuff. So you have to game the system with respect to the NPC shops and try to get the best stuff available from there, as opposed to from the auction house or crafting. And you can craft, but again, it would be so hard to do because you have to get all the resources to do so yourself. You can't mail stuff, you can't use the auction house, which I'm talking about even my old format, not the hardcore mod. I don't know how they even stop you from using the mailbox or how they stop you from using the auction house. Like, I'm not even going to try to, but how does a mod even do that? Normally, mods are about enabling stuff or giving you extra inputs, not about giving you less. Let's go ahead and get this up to 20. Look how slow you can be with it. I go to get a sip of water, like, come on. That's Tiragard Keep. They're encroaching pretty heavily on us. Oh, did it actually splash there and I missed it? But then it goes away, I'm pretty sure. I like how it has the blue and the red, like it could represent Horde or Alliance. It's a very diverse customer base, right? Like Republicans buy sneakers too, in Michael Jordan's line. Trolls and humans buy fishing bobbers too, fishing poles. That's such an awesome way to look at it, yeah. Both factions buy them, so it must... Oh, shit, look at this. It must be totally worth it. It must be the goblins who came up with that genius idea. Light leather could be relevant for something, I'm not sure. You know, I mean, if it's a gray, it's a gray. I'm not too happy about it, but that's a pretty rare epic drop. Not even really trying to farm this out. I just kind of want food in between. It only gives you 30 health, though, so I mean, it's not really up to par with what we're doing. Might be the best we can get. In fact, I had better food, too, and I threw it away because I wanted to make space for other stuff, but I wasn't expecting to want to have a stack of fish either. Yeah, that is so hilarious. Republicans buy sneakers, too, and the Horde and Alliance buys fishing bobbers, too, says the Goblin. Goblin Michael Jordan. Because it's even Republican Democrat colors. Is that really why it's like that? But then why would you have both? Just rip that blue shit off there, dude. All these little nuances I didn't even think about. Okay, 3 more. Thankfully, they're dropping all the same kind. There are some other saltwater fish, I'm sure, that you can get from this. You can check the wreckage of those ships, but I feel like that's a much higher leveling thing. I forget what you even fight there. Maybe like ghosts of stuff, or what else would be randomly underwater like that? Or some encroachment of wildlife. Makrura and stuff. We're almost up to 50 actually. Why don't we just go for it now? Or we can show off in town how good we are at fishing and do it that way. Or we'll show off behind the guy where his little fishing hut is. Yeah, 1 more. Yeah, it's not so hard to do this when you don't do it for the sake of it, right? We're doing this to actually get food, when it actually serves a purpose. Give purpose to all the mechanics that people consider mundane and meaningless because they're kind of just jacked out and twinked out and getting run through dungeons and stuff like that. There is such a sense of purpose there if you're willing to find it, but people want to turn everything that's multiplayer into an ego thing, a pissing contest, like, oh, look how good I am. I can use hindsight and borrowed knowledge to act like I'm better than everybody else, even though they have it too and they do the same thing. And it's kind of like endless cycle where, you know, you'll just keep going with that and speed run everything. Like, I don't know. This isn't the kind of game I think of like that, at least. Some games, okay, I can understand. It's Valorant, it's League of Legends, it's chess. You're trying to go for the optimal line and compete. That's all good. But let's see if there's not a body of water on one of these things. It'd be a shame if I miss it. You would think it would show it there the same way it shows it here, but maybe it doesn't. As if the ocean's water isn't enough for me. We still don't have enough of the tiger fur, so it's not even like I'm going so far out of my way just to do this. Another one of those water related jokes, like I am padding this run and don't call me Lily from Plants vs Zombies, or the other title was like the way of water connects all things, the zombies to your pool, the pool to your house, the house to, oh my god, what the fuck. I forget exactly how I phrased it. That's the closest to a writing stream that I've come, is just trying to do clever, creative titles. So I'm not going to be a skinning leather worker the way that you might stereotype hunters as sort of inclined to be. That's what I might do in a normal playthrough, or what you should really just do is mining and skinning and just farm out money and don't even worry about the professions as you level. Yeah, I've never really worried about engineering too much. I certainly didn't use it on my mage and do like sick PvP tricks the way that a lot of people did, Venruki or whoever. I love what Swifty did to go out of his way and try to, you know, post on the forums and let's duel and let's do this and that. Like before there was any formal way to really do that, and it was so hard to interact with the other faction. Even if you don't think he's that great of a player, he was such a good showman at least, which is arguably more important. I mean, that only recovers 30, so a lot of that is just our base regen anyway. And of course, trolls have regen even during combat, which is amazing. You know that they're all out of range of your stuff, so you should be in good shape. Damn, the drop rate on this is accursed. What the fuck? It's horrible. This is why it's worth it to explore every island. See, they're kind of conscious of that. Will make you kill so many of them that you feel inclined to actually check these out, instead of just skipping ahead to the last one. Although I'm sure there's plenty of them there too. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that completionist vibe too. Like I want to explore every inch of these areas because I haven't looked at the horde areas as thoroughly as maybe you would think. What's good about that is you can always do that once you're past the level. Like, come back here when I'm level 15 and they won't be giving me experience, so... But I kind of don't want to come back to places too much. Yeah, every outer body of water. Why am I so low here? Oh, we went into combat without full health, which I keep forgetting. But I actually started to need food around like level 7, 8. Whereas before that, it was no issue. So, and you always got to be careful while eating too. It's a good hard mode reflex. Like, don't get crit by something that suddenly respawns or comes out of nowhere. That's a good thing. Food and mana regen is no problem when you just go on tangents like me, or just kind of dick around and start fishing and emoting and RPing and stuff. Your health will come back on its own. You won't even have to eat anything. Let me check that center part up top. Yeah, these islands are quite big, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to explore every little inch of it. Yeah, I even wanted to go so far as to check out, like, Mulgore and Tourist Fall Glades and stuff, just to see. Like, I definitely want to mix up the leveling zone, so I've kind of gotten already too far here. But maybe I'll consider getting a pet from there. I'll use, like, a bat or something. I really don't know what I want to use. So these already respawn. Oh no, not this again. Use the water. See, imagine if you didn't have the water as a lifeline. This is like the kiddie pool strategy. Oh yeah, see, this is what I expected them to do before. Now we'll be escaping and we'll run into a Makrura unexpectedly, or some high level skull thing over there. Loch Ness monster like in Red Ridge Mountains you can get sometimes. Right around Lakeshire. Or even in, oh wow, I called it too. Even in Loch Madon, that would happen. I come home from school, I'm playing on my mage, and I got to Loch Madon for the first time, and it's like, holy shit, there's this fucking elite or level 25 or whatever Loch Ness monster in the water. I'm just kind of going around just exploring the area. Yeah, the undead would be a good advantage though. Then you could abuse the water strategy a little better. Like, you never have to worry about your breath. You can always use that to escape combat. Not that you should have to do that so often as what I'm doing. So the charge ability that they do up front is pretty scary. These two are always so close together that it can be a little bit tricky. Turn his back, which is actually pretty relevant for the aggro range. Like whether they're facing you or looking at you actually does play a part. Look at how much they do though, but you can't overestimate the charge, right? He's not going to be doing that the whole way, or he could just keep getting crits and stuff. See, by fighting something your own level, look at how much trouble I'm in now. But of course, part of that has to do with just not using abilities or not using range. I just find these kind of custom character builds interesting, as you could see in my Dark Souls playthroughs. Like, I would just go, one stat only character, you're only allowed to use such and such, you can't use spells as a dex only character, so and so forth. So I do like this idea that not only could I get every class from 1 to 60, but I could do it more than that. Like, not that I have that much time, but I could like totally. And you should arguably not even use this when you don't need to use it. Save it for when you really are in trouble. Like if we do aggro 2 and have to deal with them. But I have to be more careful when there's not water so close by. Or I could just run out of their aggro range. And of course, feign depth is going to be a factor later. That's going to be very important. But yeah, you can make your custom sort of classes. Like a mage who can only use fire spells, which wouldn't be a big deal. Or a mage who can only use arcane spells is more interesting to me. You can do that with so many things. Or just like weapon limitations, like a warrior who can only use a shield and a weapon, not two-handed stuff. Doesn't mean you have to level as prot, it just means you have to level with that restriction. Look at how they get you all stealthy like that too. I'm kind of scared of this upper part, but there must be something here like a chest or anything, right? Or some other quest item that you get later, maybe a class quest. This is where the map aspect helps you a little bit. Which arguably you shouldn't even be able to use the map at all. Let's say if we're going for full immersion, but you can, at least for the sake of, you know, because as a hunter you can just do that. You can know where everything is, whether it be beasts and so forth. So that's the one sort of in-universe justification for the map. So arguably every other class shouldn't be able to use it. So see how much that level 7 to 8 makes a difference. What is that? Yeah, that totally is some quest item for like some other class quest maybe. Or maybe it'll be a quest I get after doing these, although it seems unlikely because Zalazane seems like the final boss of the area, so why would you even need to worry about it? They're getting their panties in a bunch over like a level 9 non-elite NPC for 2 expansions plus. They can't deal with him and take over their shit again. Oh yeah, there's stuff to do with the raptor eggs and all. I don't know why we got so few quests. Will we really get more and have to come back after doing all this? That was pretty fitting that we explored the whole island, and so there is at least something of note here. I don't know what it is, but the screenshot tendency is going to become annoying, actually. We have it all on video, so why would I need to even do this? Just for the RP of it. We have a special camera our parent gave to us. There is sort of like a low-tech aspect to the universe. Like you have certain things that are impressive, like a zeppelin and whatnot, but then you're still using old-school medieval weapons like a sword and shield, so it's kind of hard to say. Or you have guns. Like, why wouldn't you think that a gun would be always better than a bow? But it's not. Just like lore-wise. Or like that in Avatar that the his wife, whose name I always forget or mispronounce, is always using a bow, but it's like some specially augmented one that's able to cut through like a helicopter and, you know, heavy body armor and whatnot. So she's not just using it on a preferential level because she's like that and old school and used stuff in nature, but it's actually just that badass of a bow. They're coming out with like some kind of open world Avatar game. Ubisoft made one way back for the first movie, but nobody seemed to like it very much. Okay, so we're done with the tiger one. Now all I want to do is explore the bottom 2 aisles, and then we'll check the big one. I'm still making progress. It's not like I'm not leveling. In fact, I arguably am worried that I'm making too much progress, but that'll stop being an issue later because, you know, it's going to take so long to level. I'm already level 9. You barely even notice. It doesn't feel like a grind when you're doing all these other sub-objectives and inventing your own quests and stuff, which is maybe a bit weird, but I like it. So our subconscious goal with the fishing is to fish in every body of water that we find in the world, which arguably you could extend to say you have to fish from every structure of land. So like I've already fished in this body of water because, you know, on the coast of Senjin Village, but I haven't fished on it from this side. So I'd have to fish from every single piece of land, which is too much. It's more like every chunk of water here, like this biome and this biome, once is enough, which I already did this one too. 100% fishing completionist run, which doesn't even serve a purpose in game, but just for the sake of it. Oh, I didn't even mean to go on this island yet. Let's go to... We're like at the center of the universe here. There's like that triple fork in the road near Westfall, Duskwood, and Elwyn Forest, where like it's one little piece of land that's like very small in the water, and you can see like all three from there. Clear separation of biomes. Actually kind of a bad immersion breaking thing that it goes straight from, you know, nice lush forest immediately to the dark dusk of Duskwood, or whatever, like a desert kind of groundwork in Westfall and other Red Ridge Mountains and stuff. Thought I saw a Makurura thing, which actually wouldn't show up on the radar unless we had the humanoid tracking, which I forget when you get that. Yeah, there are a lot of nice hunter abilities for RP, or there kind of are a lot for every class, but the kind of stuff that just gets walked over. I even forget what the hunter talent trees really are. If there is a compelling melee ability that we can use on a regular cooldown, I might even still go survival, but then again, my reliance on the pet is going to be absolute. So it feels fitting and worthy to go Beast Mastery because we're giving up our bow to even have a pet in the first place, so... Right, otherwise it would feel way too easy. To maybe be easier to explore stuff just as a rogue. But I already did that. 1 to 60 permanent. We can do another one. Then for some reason I leveled another rogue 1 to 60, maybe just to practice or something, but I'm pretty sure it was a troll rogue, so why did I even do that? And so you might think, oh, I have played Horde, but that just doesn't... It's kind of a blur. Like I played it like everybody else plays these games, which is with no level of focus or care about what you're doing, which is fine, but you're playing it like a mobile game, just like in the background while watching TV or something. Does anybody actually watch TV anymore, like on an actual television? Like everybody does YouTube and stuff. I certainly don't. Just watch YouTube videos all day, or just watch Netflix, or this is what people do nowadays. I love that too. It's like a trivia question for Twitch.tv, and it's like, oh, does TV stand for Tuvalu, which is like some kind of country where they have like an island where they host it from. And it's like, there's no way it means that. It just stands for TV, like television. That makes perfect sense, but it actually wasn't a trick question. It actually is. Tuvalu is like a real place or something. I forget what the context of that was. Some quiz show. That's at least an interesting way to do cult of personality content rather than just IRL streams. Streamer goes to the grocery store and you care about this. Why? Just because you're attached to them, I guess. So I hate that whole parasocial label that they give. Like, you show your personal life and your relationships and everything on stream, and then you want to complain that, oh, chat's being parasocial. But why do you show that shit in the first place? Don't even do face cam. How about that? Take it from me. But, you know, keep your personal life personal, but they'll benefit from it on one hand, the IRL stuff and cult of personality for content, so that helps them build a following. But then when it goes the other way, they'll say, oh, well, now it's parasocial and this and that. You have to take the good with the bad if you're going to do that kind of content, if you choose to do it, which I wouldn't even encourage, but it clearly has a big market. Like all these just chatting streamers who I don't even know them from a game, right? Like what game is such and such known for? They don't play games. They just do just chatting all the time, which is a very broad category to be fair, but I don't know. It just seems weird. It was something that almost I think they resisted at first. Like there shouldn't be a just chatting category, such and such. You can always just talk about random stuff while playing any other game, which I'm kind of more in favor of that. Whether it be, you know, play chess, it's very open-ended. You can play chess for thousands of hours over time and just, you're not really talking about chess all the time. Yeah, we'll get to level 10 just by doing the Echo Isles, I guess, alone. We should have like X number of snaps available every session, so we have to make them count. We don't just keep screenshotting everything. Of course, I am screenshotting everything all the time because that's just the nature of the... Man, those reflections are really fantastic. For such an old 2004 game, of course, updated. It's amazing how hard people had to fight to get this re-release, though. Sodapoppin deserves credit because he always wanted to stream those unofficial keyword servers that you aren't allowed to do, which is fair enough. But, you know, he so badly wanted to do it, but they wouldn't let him, which is kind of him admitting he played on them, which most streamers are afraid to admit because they can get in trouble or whatever. And on the topic, I have no comment. But like, yeah, Asmongold actually said that. Oh, he's never played on one. But then he did a Freudian slip where he's like, because they have microtransactions and this and that. It's like, how would you know what they have if you've never played on one? Like, sure, you could still know it, but it seems unlikely that somebody who loves WoW as much as he does wouldn't do that. It's like saying, have you ever sped on the highway? Have you ever gone over 65 miles an hour like you've gone 70? Like, that's such a big crime. Like, if you follow anybody for 1,000 miles, you're going to catch them speeding because everybody does it, like by a little marginal amount that isn't really hurting anybody. So it's the same thing there. Like, do you really think that these people who love WoW so much, who play it all their life, wouldn't do that? There's no way I believe that. You know, the way to deal with that is always to say the person hosting it is the one liable, not the people just playing on it. But of course, in theory, you shouldn't do that either. And of course, you have no reason to, as long as they do this. That's what I always said too. I would gladly pay $15 for the rest of my life just to be able to play this, just to know that it's there. It gives me sort of like a peace of mind, right? It's not even that I play it all the time. In fact, I didn't play it for a while. I just played it in January this year to sort of initiate the series. And then now this is only my second episode of actually doing it. So this all looks very conspicuous, but I'm not sure really what it is. Is there some quest here? Is there some chest? The problem is there might be a chest, but somebody else already took it, so you would never know. Just to sort of give some context, like what is the purpose of this very large island? There must be something. We killed everything here for some reason. Let's just look around. It was an interesting decision to sort of have the welfare classes be attached to other ones, like gnomes live in Dun Morogh, trolls live in Durotar. You kind of just take that for granted now, but it was a weird, because it would make anybody who played those classes feel kind of like an outcast and feel kind of weird, right? They don't feel like all classes created equal, at least from a design standpoint, that, you know, it was just a little bit like gnomes and trolls would feel a little bit out of touch, like the lore wouldn't be as expansive or this or that. But then again, like I said, Tauren's lore doesn't feel very expansive either. You got to just be aware that we don't miss like a green or something if it does drop, which at this level pretty much just doesn't happen. I did get some BOE blue on my priest run, which was very fortuitous. What a fitting word too, because you're always using power word fortitude and stuff. That was totally just an accidental slip. So there was some sculpting on the top island. It's possible that, see, now we'll know because of my exploratory nature. If the next quest says go find the skull, everyone will be like, what the fuck is that? Where is that? But I already know that just because I looked at that island without being prompted to. Oh, this is gonna be a long ass playthrough too. A lot of it's not even gonna be related to leveling. We'll just be doing in between stuff, checking out shops, reading flavor text, RPing, sightseeing, camera shots, all these kind of other things. Doing stuff for professions, exploring the other zones that are already under leveled for us. Like, I'll check out Tirisfal Glades, but then it won't even give me experience now just to see certain things about it. Or maybe that I should save that for doing an undead character or whatever, but I still do kind of want to make this like a Horde extraordinaire series. Like Alliance players checks out the Horde areas for the first time in exhaustive detail. for basically the first time. I always would level stuff to like level 10 and just, you know, leave it. Like, I'm going to make an alt. I'm going to level every class to 60, and then I get it to level 10 and stop. These guys are pretty good at hiding in the undergrowth and ambushing you like that. This is the last island before we have to go to the main hub. I might make a trip back to town to prepare myself mentally and get the other sexy fishing pole, which I probably won't be able to afford. And also to turn in this quest, and also to, you know, just kind of clear out my bag. Although there's very few things I can actually sell. Most of it is just stuff I want to keep. Like, I want to keep these, keep this, keep this, keep this, keep this. Although I could replace that with the other one, I guess. Keep this, keep this. Because you have to go to Razor Hill. Yeah, see, some of these quest items are going to cuck us. Am I not getting, like, unrealistically unlucky with the bag situation, though? I swear to God, you would always get at least one bag by now. It's maybe more so humanoid enemies that drop it, though. So much of what I've killed hasn't been humanoid. In fact, the only humanoids I've killed are the Makrura or the Centaur. So I guess if you kill the Terragard Keep people, they will drop bags. So I guess I take that for granted for, like, Elwyn Forest. I always say, oh, so many bags drop there. I got like 3 in a row one time, and I thought the game was like bugging out. But that's because they're all like Defias, and there's a lot of human enemies. So that's kind of a little bit different. That must actually be exactly why. It's possible maybe that a beast can drop it, but it's just much less likely. Okay, we better pop that because we're in a little bit of trouble. You kind of get lulled into a false sense of security, like, oh, this is so easy. In fact, I'm surprised how easy it is. We're not using anything that's good. All just stuff from random drops or NPC vendors. We're not even using a bow as a hunter. We don't have any abilities besides number 1, and we're still doing pretty good. We don't have a pet yet. Yeah, that would be one of the most threatening things. Like, a hunter is an overpowered easy mode class, but before you get a pet, you're in trouble, even if you do have a bow. So I'm surprised. I guess the bow doesn't come into play that much because you only get like 2 or 3 shots off, you know, on each thing. But then you have Serpent Sting, you have Arcane Shot, you have Concussive Shot, all these different goodies. I definitely won't go marksmanship. It's a debate between survival and beast mastery, and I can't decide which I really want. I kind of don't even want beast mastery just because it seems so overpowered, but in this context, it's completely justified. In a way, I almost didn't even want a pet, but that's why I decided, like, it'd be too unfair to have a pet and the bow, so you have to choose one or the other. And it gives you a great sense of class identity by stripping your class of all its abilities just to rely on the pet completely. It will be like such a Pokemon experience. Permadeath Pokemon, if your best Pokemon dies, you just lose. Because it's permadeath for both you and the Pokemon, which I should have totally done that with Pokemon Y, but it was just for my trainer. Yeah, he could have crit me there. That's a good catch. Yeah, so we're equating this basically to a card game series, a secondary series, where we would just, you know, do it once a week for a couple hours. I just find it kind of sad, though. Even in a good way, like, people are finally appreciating the game in different ways. Everybody's doing hardcore now because that cool add-on came out. Because nobody could have ever just done that before. You can't just do a permadeath run of a game. You're not allowed to. You have to do it for some kind of ego thing, like, oh, I'm proving with the add-on that I did it, ha ha ha. Or I'm streaming it, which I guess I can't say that because, you know, I stream everything anyway. But, oh, that is a troublesome decision. I shouldn't have done it. With no cooldown up or anything. I like how committed I am with that too. Like, I won't even have a bow in the slot to show my thing. Okay. Gonna be trouble. I mean, I'm not too happy with what I'm doing right now. Like, why? Why am I doing this? If he crits me or something at the end, like, why? Why? If I die in the spot like that, I just don't know what to say. Yeah, I'll actually make a trip back to town. Last Echo Isle. I like how the map actually gets cut off there. Look at that. Like, that part has never been explored or whatever. Let's explore the ass crack of Durotar here. The uncharted reaches. That is so hilarious. It doesn't mean that there's nothing there besides water. There's actually land there. So we're actually off the map. You can't zoom in any more than that, though. What is on island number 5? Nothing, I guess. So the only thing of interest was on the very top one, and it was like some kind of skull. I guess that'd be signified by how big the island is. So either that's a class quest that I just won't have to do, or it's a quests that I get later. Like the little ambiance and buzzing, and I like how the music kind of fades in and out. Like I have the loop music thing turned off. Now let's do the actual real Echo Isle. This experience will really echo through the ages. There's nothing here though. Like, why do they do that? There should be something like a chest or just something of interest. A special mining node, which, you know, wouldn't really be that special. But actually, I haven't seen too many. It's the sort of thing you don't notice unless you're really looking for it. Yeah, let's make the trip back, empty our bag, reflect on the experience of almost getting killed by random stupid stuff just because I'm a clown. And then we'll be prepared to take on the real challenge here. And see, it's sort of showing like, oh, we can only swim but so far. We couldn't handle swimming all the way back, so we have to stop on each isle, kind of like skip, like a pebble. We're skipping across one land to the next to be able to, you know, make it. Our endurance, our breath, our fatigue is almost maxed out, so we just have to stop here, catch our breath, and keep going. Yeah, those Durotar tiger furs were super low drop rate. I'm really debating about not only the spec, but also the pet and also the professions. I don't have a clear idea of what I want to do. I guess once I get to level 10, at least I can see what the specs are. I don't know why I'm even fighting this. Yeah, catch my breath by engaging in lethal combat with a tiger. One thing I don't like is how the hitboxes are so, you know, far out. Like, it doesn't look like you're hitting it there. But then if I try to RP and get closer, then I'm playing suboptimally because you want to keep a little bit of distance between you and them in case something goes wrong. Like even here, I should have to latch onto this one. We're still learning how to swim. Our swimming skill isn't maxed out yet. Let's show off our fishing ability to this dude. Get our journeyman fishing as a rite of passage. We can almost max it out, although I don't feel the need to do that. The only time it kind of trolled me with the map as far as the body of water is when it was in Senjin Village. This one shows, but there's one right in the middle of town too that didn't show. So I almost just failed that run if I had missed that or forgotten. I mean, it's very conspicuous, but I kind of wasn't thinking about it. Or if you rely on the map too much, then that'll kind of cuck you. Yeah, I'm almost trying to avoid killing myself now because I feel like I'm getting over leveled, but it doesn't matter. Like that will definitely stop happening later. Because even without doing dungeons and stuff, they expect you to at least do every dungeon once, let's say, for a complete level experience as far as quests. So how could you, you know, make up for that is by being an exploratory completionist like me and just killing stuff even when you don't have to. So you're not really doing it to grind, you're just exploring. I swear, I'm not power leveling or spamming stuff or trying to cheat. Yeah, we'll stop in with our fishing buddy, get our fishing to 50. I would like to get my that fishing pole. Let's see if it's still there, actually. There's only one in stock. Get it while it lasts on this very overpopulated server, clearly. Yeah, we won't even probably make it to Razor Hill. Let's just try to... although I will probably get to level 10, which surprises me a little bit. So if you play it this thoroughly, look at this. I'm actually over leveled. I wonder how well that'll bode later on. Because even with my other permadeath runs, I wasn't this focused on the immersion element. Or I guess I did it maybe once. Because I'd already played Alliance so much, but I still hadn't really read the quest text in great detail and all those little things. Play it like a single player story game. Which again, the immersion doesn't have to come from, oh, you're doing a 1 to 60 permadeath. It could just come from the natural aspect of playing the game. But I guess people always need a gimmick. I hate that. Even when something good, I guess that is me sort of nitpicking, but you know, it's a high level criticism. It's like, just do whatever you want, but it's just weird. That is how the original conversation spawned. Like, is WoW one of the best games ever? No, but it's imbalanced, because single player games are never imbalanced that you would consider the best. You know, there's always issues, but it doesn't matter as much to people, I guess, then. Aqua Dynamic Fish Attractor. When equipped, increases fishing by 100 for 5 minutes. Now, why would you really need to worry about that? I could afford that. I mean, if I feel like this is something really rare and special, I mean, I'll do it just for the RP and the fuck of it. I don't know how hard those are to find anywhere else. See, at least these are there permanently, but this one I'm tempted to get. But how the hell am I going to get 9 silver? And I'm not going to sell any of this other stuff either. Let me turn in the quest. Why are there so many beasts here? Oh, it's all the mounts. I didn't notice that before.
Who you be?
Practical prey. I remember my first tiger hunt, Rygor. I chose to hunt on the largest of the Echo Isles, and I sat perfect. We haven't been there yet. And I sat perfectly still in the shadows of its foliage for almost a full day, watching, waiting. You sound like me, padding. My muscles were taut, and I was ready to strike. It was one of the greatest victories when that tiger finally took the bait. He killed 1 tiger. I am pleased. Because of your help, our people will be protected. That's why he's only level 7. You always got to keep them in check of who you're talking to. It'll be a level 55 who's scared of little boars and tells you to go to kill them, like he couldn't do it himself, like a town guard or something. Or it'll be somebody who's shittier than you telling you what to do. I am pleased. Because of your help, our people will be protected and not go cold as the seasons change. Is that really an issue in Durotar? Weird. It's like when Ganondorf complains about the Gerudo, like the sun would scorch your skin, but then in winter the wind would freeze your bones. And it's like you really have to worry about that in Gerudo Valley, which is like the desert. He says that like in Wind Waker, I think. That line kind of surprised me because of all the things you have to complain about. The Gerudo have 99 problems, but the cold shouldn't be one. You certainly don't get that vibe in Ocarina of Time. We got those for some odd reason and wasted my money. That quest gave me a decent amount though. So all we have to do now is these 2. The rest is to do with Razor Hill. I assume that's all. Looked like he turned there to look at me. Let's complete our fishing quest, which is not a real quest, obviously, but we'll get it to 50. Oh, I won't be able to learn it now, probably, because it'll cost too much. I was kind of checking on this guy to show off. I don't feel like I even really need the bobbers for now. Just for maybe the RP of it, you should feel like you have to use them, but I like how slow-paced this actually is, because this will go on for a long time. And of course, I'm never going to die. So in part, it's, you know, just like an immersive series I wanted to do, but on the other part, it is still a hard mode. It's kind of like how I do first playthrough permadeaths of story games. Like I could be playing Danganronpa or Phoenix Wright or something, like a new Phoenix Wright, and it, you know, on one hand, it's just an immersive story game, but on the other hand, it is still a hard mode, because everything I do has to be a hard mode just for the fun of it. It does make it more interesting. And it gives you good motivation to perform better. Like if I fuck up too many times or get too many questions wrong, I actually lose. And then I can't try it again for at least 6 months is usually the rule. Reputations are kind of going to be what they are. Maybe a good opportunity to actually read them, though. There's flavor text even in the UI here. Darkspear Trolls. The tribe of exiled trolls has joined. So you're only friendly with them. I feel like normally you start off a lot better. Right? Like the orc and the troll are too similar. If you're a human, you'd be already like honored here, and you know everything else would be falling behind. It's interesting to see like what classes start off with what. Like the undead, I think, start off with neutral with everybody. You wouldn't be so friendly with these core 3, right? So it's just kind of an unfair thing, which is the sort of thing people would complain about, like how I was saying with gnomes and trolls feeling so outcast as a class and not having their own zones and stuff. But that's kind of the trade-off you make sometimes with old school RPGs and stuff, is not everything is perfectly even to create maybe like an organic sense. Tribe of exiled trolls has joined forces with Thrall and the Horde after being saved from fucking Murlocs. They now call Durotar their home, which they share with their orc allies. There aren't even that many Murlocs in this whole like where was it they were getting attacked by Murlocs? Maybe that was before they went to Kalimdor. Although no, that doesn't make sense. Where is it that there's so many Murlocs that the trolls would be fighting for their lives against them? There's some in Dustwall Marsh. There's not really that many in some of these other zones. I mean, obviously Naralex or whatever in Wailing Caverns is one, but there aren't even any that you fight in Wailing Caverns, right? There's 0 Murlocs there. How many are there in the Barrens? I feel like there's not really too many. So I can't afford that, unfortunately. So I guess we'll save that for later. Let's just do the quest. You have to kill a bunch of the trolls, and we also have to get a skull. Retrieve from a skull of power on the Circle Isles. Don't tell me that was the one that I actually saw, because it didn't look like I could pick it up. He was taken by Zalazane, the warlock on the Echo Isles to the east, and he is dead. But the death is not freedom, my brother. Let me actually double check. That'd be so stupid because it didn't look like it was glowing or anything, and I moused over it. It couldn't be. Or maybe I have to do something first. Find the circle and retrieve it. That was so conspicuous, though. There might just be another one here. I have to latch onto land to be able to make it. I can't swim that far yet. It's like a GTA RP kind of thing where, you know, their skills would go up. Running, swimming, endurance, whatever. That they had placed such an emphasis on San Andreas. Like, you have to like go weightlifting to increase your muscle. You have to eat food and you get fat and burn the calories and stuff. Music is pretty great. Of course, they reuse it in a lot of areas. Like, you'd hear this in STV and stuff, but it's always interesting what they choose to play in the caves or even in dungeons. Like, I always associate that one really badass theme with SFK. As soon as you're going up to like Aragol's tower, you hear this really good, I don't know how to describe it, really good mysterious theme. So now, I don't know where you hear that actually in a single player context, like out in the overworld, you might not actually hear it. You know, by this logic, I would still have to fight through these. I'm totally just grinding, I'm farming. To be able to touch the land every step of the way. I'm a skip rock RPer. Just assuming there was some limitation on your swimming skill at this low level. It is kind of shocking to be able to do this well with one ability like this. What am I, a paladin? Although even then, you're basically just relying on auto shoot, but imagine making auto attacking fun. That's how you know it's a great game. The role of MMOs, which is something that's really antiquated. I wish they would kind of grow out of. Like with EVE Online, I didn't expect it to be like that, but you still have to auto attack the same way as some of these old school games. What makes it still satisfying is like the character development and growth and sort of, you know, just knowing what you put into them to get them to do that. Like Wind Fury will happen automatically, but it's still satisfying to know that, you know, you've put that sort of together as far as the build and the spec and the gear and everything. So every time you see that crazy Wind Fury credits, it's like a reminder of all your progress to have gotten there, which is true in a lot of games, but I guess because the amount of time you put in a game like this is different than even what you normally do in a single player game. So it's like the treetop fruit psychology ideation thing where, like, for example, you get a card back in Hearthstone for getting to a certain rank, like Legend Rank 1. Even if the card back was ugly, you would still like it, or like a skin or something for getting to a super high rank. Even if it's ugly, you might still like it because of what you associate with doing it, right? It like a mount, maybe in current WoW, you get a special mount for being rank 1 in PvP or something, or for being world first in a raid, and you really like the mount, even though you don't like the way it looks, just because you associate it with the psychological satisfaction of having done that, of that sense of achievement. Or meanwhile, something could look really cool, but if everybody gets it, then you won't feel as satisfied with it. Or if it's just super easy to get. The illusion of accomplishment in a virtual world. Now, let's go here. I'm pretty sure that wasn't it, but it doesn't matter. It's not like we're going that far out of the way. We can just latch onto the big Echo Isle here. And we'll show off the fact that we got our fishing to 50, although we still haven't, to that guy, and learn apprentice fishing. Higher fishing so increases your chance of catching fish in bodies of water around the world. If you're having trouble catching fish in a given area, move to a lower area, purchase a fishing lure, and try again. It doesn't even start off by telling you to use your fishing lure. Which of these really have flavor text with them? Higher weapon skill increases your chances to hit. That's not really too flavorful. Higher defense makes you harder to hit and makes monsters less likely to land a crushing blow. Higher skill increases your chance to hit. Unarmed. Allows the wearing of cloth armor. Allows the wearing of leather armor. What was that game that I was making fun of where the flavor text is so banal? It just tells you, oh, like Somnium. If this was written by the people who made Somnium, like, it's, whatever. I can't remember, like some legal mumbo jumbo terms. Knife, a weapon used to strike people. Like, this very, very basic. So it's like, why even have a flavor text entry for it if it's going to be that simple? I guess maybe they would keep adding to it over time. And a lot of them are like trying to be funny or cheeky or weird or something. There's no question that I'll get to level 10 here, which maybe is higher than I expected to. Because now what will I do at Razor Hill? Razor Hill is only meant to get you to like level 10, 12 maybe, before you head off to the Barrens. Although I guess it kind of scales down. There's the first like aura I've really noticed. It sort of scales down. If I'm fighting level 8s and I'm level 12, I won't get as much experience, so at least I won't feel over leveled. But there's no shame in even doing that. Like, these are still my level, kind of. The rule of 2 engaged. That kind of scared me, like something was behind me. It's just the vine shaking. Actual capacity for jump scare moments, because if you aggro 2 things, you can actually die, so you have to be very careful. Let me check out the skull that was in the middle here. Guy is level 8. I shouldn't be taking this a lackadaisical. Or like if 2 of the raptors come and strike you with their special charge ability, which does like 30 damage each, and they daze you, and you can't get away, and you're far from the water, you could just be done for, right? My fish is fried. Yeah, this is one of those cultural real-life things, like where I've sort of never associated any sort of pride with what my, you know, heritage is and stuff, because it's so arbitrary. Like, just my opinion, of course. Like, okay, you like seafood, or your culture is very seafood heavy. Why? Because it happens to be Japan or something where you live around the water. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's reactionary to geography. So I wouldn't feel like a sense of identity in that. I would, yeah, it's not this. Doesn't this totally look like it could be the skull they're talking about? Yeah, I don't take pride in things like that because you didn't choose it, and it's all reactionary stuff. So over the course of time, with the whole global feel and interconnectivity that we have, anybody can eat any kind of food. So now you don't have to rely on those reactionary cultural things, but people sort of insist on it as a sense of pride. Like, you know, oh, I like this because of my background, but why not just like it because of what you actually choose or what you actually prefer? That gives you more a sense of identity. I feel like your choice rather than your, you know, something you didn't choose or control. That even the people who originally did it, like the creators of that culture, let's say, they didn't choose it either. It was just, you know, people will do whatever is nearest and easiest, nearness postulate engaged, although that's normally more associated with the stimuli acme, but you can associate it to anything. Would you really be proud of something like, oh, this was closer to me, the water, than the mountain, so I eat food from there as opposed to the other? I kind of want to enter from the front of it, but I guess this is fine. And of course, this is the only thing that would obstruct your view of like a lake, is like how Senjin Village icon did. Now, this is not a unique icon. You see this kind of thing in many other places. But Senjin Villages is pretty unique. I don't know if that's used for a lot of the horde towns. It probably is. And my memory is really shaky, actually. There's so many things that I've forgotten. But again, it's not like a kind of game that I think about every single day, the way that a lot of people who are, you know, speed running and doing all these stupid things probably do. Or you would think if they speed run through it, they'd be done with it very quickly. But, you know, like I always wanted to get every class from 1 to 60, but I couldn't do it because it would take too long, or I never got around to it. It's just sort of like a fun goal to have. But you could easily do it. Just pay people to run you through some. Yeah, I went all the way back to town to sell my stuff so that I would have like 2 spaces to work with. That's really worth it, dude. I'm just getting boned on the bag, though. I'll totally get one in Terragard Keep, though, from the humanoids there. You got to kill like some quill boars, or you got to kill like some humanoids aside from the Makrura. I wonder if they have an increased drop rate of it too. These ones actually kind of scare you at the beginning with their charge ability, kind of like the boars do sometimes. Let's finish this sucker off, and then you have to... That was something I was going to use as a thumbnail too, like the cult of personality, buffering, loading, because I haven't established no online presence yet. It's sad how much of an impact that plays, but hey. Oh. Gotta use the water. Yeah, I get too careless. You really have to just always be at full health going into combat, even if you don't feel like you need to be. At least this thing's not too distracting and constantly spamming you with stuff. In fact, I didn't even notice the screenshot captured thing. See, now I could actually wait here strategically in combat. I wouldn't have to get out of the aggro range because my health is coming back, even if very slowly as a troll. It even shows you the axe as a survival, but that's an axe used to chop down a tree. Like, it's a survival game. That's what they meant. How fast is it? 10% is actually really significant. That is kind of like an underrated racial passive. That might actually be the best one. I mean, think about how big of an impact that can have. If you can stall out a fight like in PvP and all kinds of stuff, I might have already died if it wasn't for that, but then I wouldn't have played so aggressively. Like, over the course of a long encounter, or even like a raid boss fight, if everybody was a troll versus not being a troll, think about how much healing that just saves. You don't have to do anything to activate it. That is crazy. Hex troll. So is that trying to excuse their bad behavior? That it's not their choice, they're just weak-minded and they're under his control? I thought the way they tried to describe it was like they were doing it by choice. Casting Immolate, which kind of makes sense as far as a witch doctor, but that's no true Immolate. It does less damage with the dot than it does from the cast. I thought it was supposed to be the opposite. The problem is these guys will run away. It's always amusing to me how wild enemy types won't attack stuff. I guess he has it under his spell or whatever as a witch doctor, but like the... Oh shit, that could get me in trouble if I get too many dots. So 8 voodoo trolls and then 1 Zalazane. Like, you know, the random boar or the random aggressive tiger will have a truce with the troll, or like with the Defias. You're fighting a Defias pillager and then some random harvest golem or something doesn't attack, or even that makes less sense because, you know, maybe the harvest golems are under their control. But when it's just like a wild animal, it doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't it attack them too? Why does it always have to be ganging up on you? I guess because you're so badass and you're the bigger threat. What else did I feel like I wanted to do here? I have to find the little skull, which wasn't that very conspicuous skull on the top island, apparently. I just have to deal with not being able to keep the grays because just make sure nothing super impactful drops. Okay, that's a mistake, big mistake. I'm really being way too aggro happy here. I've been doing well, but I just have to realize that I'm in trouble. Like, you just have to actually let your health come back. Look at that weird looking shoulder pad. That is a pretty iconic symbol, like a healing totem type of thing. Maybe in Warcraft 3 they used it. They go so far, they have to be very careful. Now, this is the kind of thing you should definitely keep. All the stuff I'm keeping for some kind of utility or crafting that I might need later. You might even question this, but what if I need it for engineering? I'm not going to be able to buy it from the auction house, so unless a vendor sells it, right? I don't know what I'm going to need or not, so there's going to be some kind of feeling out period. I might have to farm 1,000,000 fish to be able to sell, to be able to buy all the bag slots from my bank, but then I won't even be able to find the bags in the first place. What's the quest that tells you to take raptor eggs? I'm sure there is one. Whenever there's some conspicuous thing out in the overworld like that, right? It's not just there for no reason. I don't know where the skull thing is. It would have to be on this island, although he doesn't specify that it is. So imagine if it was on another one and I just missed it. Yeah, I'm not even trying to fight these, but I'm trying to kind of get them from the outside. Make like a stealthy little approach by going up and meleeing them with my fucking mace. Or my axe, I mean. I can't wait till I can use two-handed stuff too, which wouldn't be that hard to do, but I have to get to Orgrimmar or somewhere. I forget what weapon trainers are in what cities. But that is kind of cool that they even distinguish that. See, even that's an immersive lore type of thing. You would have to go to Darnassus to learn how to use a bow because the elves are better with bows. The Legolas reference or whatever, but they each have their own identity that way, whereas axes for Alliance would be like... axes would be Ironforge, maces would be Stormwind probably, because paladins were known for using maces. There's so much detail and lore in like every little thing. That's what I like. In all its aspects. To finish this guy off, although that is kind of an annoying thing to have to do at the beginning, so it's always a trade-off. Right, it makes the player do more work and do more thinking and exploring and figuring stuff out. So they just go to Thoughtbot or they go to whatever, WoW Wiki, or they just use an add-on. It's amazing how much respect people have for that kind of thing when they are playing a single-player game, though. They tend to consider it a stigma, like, oh, you can't just look stuff up. That would make it too easy. But I guess because of how time-consuming MMOs are, they feel less compelled to respect that way. Of course, this island's so big, you could be looking for that skull all day. Or it could just be somewhere in the middle there, but let's just see. We're already in the thick of it here, so you could get in trouble if too many of these things aggro. This is just the beast. The main trick is you just have to pull everything back. Are they all going to be casting Immolate? Or no, this guy wants to beat me with a staff. Had to beat a troll with a stick to get these voodoo dolls. He's going to do more damage from his armor than anything else, which I wouldn't have to deal with. Right, if you hit him with the range, that's not going to hurt you. Look at that, I'm actually going to lose to this guy. What is this? This is not a problem that a troll should be having. Oh, wow, I don't even know what to do with that. Now that helps you avoid the raptor, the tracking, but of course you could just see him too. So because of their stupid lightning shield, I think that's what's really getting me. Kind of low on food, I should probably get more. Good opportunity to fish. These are kind of tantamount to like a single player dungeon experience. You have to pull things carefully. You have to not aggro too many at once. You have to use a certain amount of strategy. Even at this low level, that can be the case. I do love how it's only giving me that one type though. You don't have to worry about the frogs. You don't have to worry about the other like yellow one. Although you would think those would come in the salt water too. Maybe not. So let's see. Fun and interactive. You actually have to look for where it drops. Although I guess what else do you expect a fishing mechanic to be? Let's at least get it to 50. And then we'll have enough money to at least train this. Unfortunately, what I won't have is I won't have the money to buy the fishing pole. I don't know exactly how to guarantee that. Or maybe I should try to buy that first. If you shift click it, it's going to auto loot. I'm pretty sure, right? That shows you what an expert fisherman I am. Normally, I don't like to turn auto loot on because I like to actually see what I'm getting. It's not like Diablo where you just mindlessly loot everything and then just use an add-on like in Path of Exile. They say to whittle down what is best to use, kind of validating one of my criticisms that it's such quantity over quality. But rather than hold that against the games and the genre, people will just say, oh, just use an add-on to work around an objective flaw or something that is anti-intuitive. Oh, look how the text goes all dark when you open that up. Huh, I guess I never pay attention to that. So 5 more, and of course I'm doing it without the fishing bob thing, which you shouldn't really need to use, the lure. They always look like such a magical item, like the purple orb. And see, I loved all the management as a mage. Like you have to buy the runes of teleportation, and you have to do all these kind of other things. You have to have reagents for everything. Even for druids, you have to have like the seeds. For shamans, you have to have the ankhs. Like there's always something you have to have. Of course, I would have never needed any of those things because I would never die, or at least the ankh. Of course, soul stones would be busted in a run like this, so you're not allowed to use stuff like that, at least as far as I'm concerned. I don't think the hardcore add-on actually mentioned that, so that would just be something I self-enforce, just like pretty much everything else. Like there's nothing that says I can't use melee, but I say it. Or I mean, I can only use melee. 48. There's no reason to really get it up to 75. Yeah, how many bodies of water could there really be in Durotar anyway? You're surrounded by water, but you're still a desert. How ironic is that? Come on. Or at least, again, clear separation of biomes. Like, sure, there's sand on the beach, but it would be rare for there to be a beach in, like, a desert like that close vicinity. Come on, 50 should be here. It's pretty much giving me one guaranteed. It doesn't really give you a sense of the orange, like orange, green, gray, whether it's going to give you a level or not. Right? It's just kind of giving me one no matter what. So now the only thing I have to do is make sure that I find that little skull thing and just explore the island. This is why I end up killing like every single enemy, just because I don't want to accidentally aggro it later. And thankfully you can change weapons in combat because that kind of clown behavior would get me killed. So those guys with the shields are very annoying, and since I can only use melee, there's no easy way around it. I might have to go get my pet and come back. I really don't want to do it like that. or I'd have to use my ability like every single time. The more I hit them, the more damage I take, and it's doing more damage than they are with their dinky staff. This is where they kind of confuse the issue too. Like, you're a staff wielding, melee using, lightning shield user, but then you'll also be able to use immolate or all kinds of other stuff. So it's not like a real class that really exists. The way that like Anduin's a priest, but he can use a sword, like in the BFA cutscene or whatever. They're like special hero classes that they make just for the lore sake, or that's just some bullshit excuse they use when they break their own lore rules. But I guess they're just such special characters they can kind of do everything. Or that's how like Azeroth Society keeps people down. They just tell you that and brainwash you, like you're not allowed to use this and that, but then you see your leader does. Rules for thee, not for me. Priests can't use swords. It's just like a cultural thing, or it's just like an unspoken rule, not because you're not actually capable of doing it. You just be stigmatized and made fun of. Like if you're a warrior wearing a robe, you gotta do as much damage as you can before he puts on the shield, and as soon as he does, I just die. Like, look at that. It's gonna do like extra 10 every time. He's gonna heal. Oh, I actually can't kill these guys. I unironically can't do it. Or I have to abuse my health thing. Hard mode, single player, neutral, non-elite enemy that's at my level. I don't actually understand. At least there, I guess if you're using the bow and he heals, you could kind of snipe him from a distance and do a little bit more damage or something, but I even use my cooldown and everything. I just have to do it when I'm a higher level, I guess. Where is this thing of skulls? You would think it'd be on here. Or did I have to like use an item on it? I don't think so. What does he say? Retrieve the skull from the circle of power. I guess it must just be in the center somewhere here. Let's try again, but I'm not too happy about these things. I basically think I just can't kill them. Or you have to like run away while they have that shield up. There's no way for me to get rid of it. There's no way for me to bypass it. Like for a warrior or something, this would be hard to kill regardless, but I guess your damage would be a lot better and you'd have some recourse, but it would still be hard. Because yeah, his shield is actually doing more damage. Some of this low level magic is jacked out. Like the Defies Pillagers, they just do way more damage than anything else. His literal melee swings, or the melee swings of any other thing, is only doing like 10, but his shield alone does that. And I can't help but hit him. Like how else am I gonna kill him? Okay, these ones don't use that, but I don't like doing it in such a weird angle where you're leaving stuff behind you. It's like the first time I've done that. So the immolate does very shitty damage, so I'm not too worried about it, but now the enemy abilities actually start to come into play, which usually you have to worry about with humanoids. Like how much do beasts really punish you with that later on? Although you're seeing the charges and stuff too from the raptors, so I guess it's not that big of a... This like National Geographic episode. Let's see the wildlife of Durotar in its natural habitat as we slay them one by one. Voodoo troll. You literally cannot kill a single voodoo troll. You just can't do it. It's objectively impossible, or you'd have to use all kinds of items and stuff. I unironically just can't do it. Like I won't be able to complete the quest. And where could the skull thing be? Now, I don't have humanoid tracking, so it's going to be very tough. I might just actually have to come back here. Like I'm not ready for it. This will be like a rite of passage. Like we got embarrassed by the voodoo trolls and shunned by our clan in Senjin Village, so we have to earn our right to face them again and earn our respect back once we go to Razor Hill to harden ourselves up. And we could come back even with the pet, so that the pet could tank the damage from the... Now, he shouldn't help out of respect for the whole hardcore vibe, I guess. Not that it's even really that hard. Like, obviously, especially a class like this would be one of the easiest if you were to just, you know, use the bow and stuff. You know, kind of the core mechanic of your class. Imagine doing that. Or a gun, which feels kind of unfitting as a horde character. Or I guess Taurens you associate with guns more, and trolls maybe more with bows. Dwarves obviously with you associate dwarves with guns and night elves with bows. Let's see. So the raptor doesn't seem to mind. See, it's not going crazy trying to attack them. Not that they couldn't handle it. Last thing you want to do is try to overdo it and get yourself killed here. I assume the skull thing is here, so I'm just not even going to worry about it. I could either learn to fish or I could buy the fishing pole, although I can't even do that. These are at least all hex trolls, so maybe I can deal with this camp. Always save your ability for when you really need it, but sometimes you can't do that. So they're always in those perches there. Or at least usually. Zalazane there. Of course, it'd be hard to do this, period. Like, you're going to aggro so many things that you probably shouldn't worry about it. Or you have to be able to do risk assessment here just to say, like, am I willing to try this or not? Because you don't have an escape ability like a rogue would or something. And there's the guy. Or you could try to get him from behind. Oh, maybe that's the skull thing up there. Maybe I could still kill him, but I won't be able to kill the hex trolls. How ironic is that? Or I mean the voodoo trolls. Look at this. Stealthy ambush. If I can actually do this. Oh, this is interesting. Look at that. Tactical genius. Imprisoned dark spirit. I thought it was like an animal that we did. Oh, look at this. He's going to be all mad that we took this shit. We're going to ambush him. Oh, that is actually genius, dude. Let's see if he's going to climb up from behind. If he's going to aggro more stuff. He's like, where the fuck did the skull go? I was just about to do a ritual with that. Oh, shit. He came from hiding behind the little altar. Can I do it? Can I do it? Strength and stamina reduced, but I'm an agility class, dude. Is he going to run away like a pussy? At least he fights me with honor. Like, one-on-one. He doesn't call for help. Oh, look at this. You're easier to kill than the goddamn... Well, I spoke too soon. You're easier to kill than the goddamn voodoo trolls. I keep trying to call them hex trolls. Look at this clown, dude. Just don't heal again, though, because then that kind of creates an endless loop where you can't do anything. I can use the potion. I mean, this is the boss. It's amazing that I was able to kill this guy, but I can't kill a single one of his underlings. Oh, shit. Speaking of which, he might be getting help from one right now. Oh, you gotta make room. And get rid of the stupid fish. Loose chain belt. Beautiful. So with our expert... Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Okay, we better go in the water and not take a chance. That barely even affected me. Theatricality and deception are powerful agents, but we're not a goddamn warrior. And I do have a potion. Oh, this is a bad spot. Everything is just going downhill. The curse of Zalazane follows me around. So you're basically just going to chase me across the whole map. Let me get this straight. Like, I'll use the potion, but I'm kind of just in a state of shock. This is the most dedicated troll ever. The most dedicated voodoo troll in the Echo Isles. Are you kidding me? I don't even want to kill you. Like, just get out of there, dude. Please. Use that to break their aggro thing. He did call for help at the very end, though. He's successfully, kind of, even though it was probably indirect. Is she going to come back again, dude? Look at her. What is this aggro range? Like, she's chasing me halfway across the goddamn map. Okay, just relax. Let this drop. I mean, it still matters that he does that debuff, but I should actually finish her off just for the heck of it. Yeah, nice, honorable 2v1, dude. And I had a chance to aggro an animal. I had a chance to aggro Makrura down there. Jesus Christ. He steals my kills. So I don't even get to do that RP thing. What an amazing adventure. What was that? Did he use like some kind of an engineering tool already? They're already metagaming this shit too. So what I can't do is I can't kill a voodoo troll. Let's actually see. No, actually, let's not. My class is just not suited for it, or at least not the way I'm playing it. At least we took care of a lot of that. So we'll have to come back and take our revenge on the voodoo trolls once I'm stronger or once I have a pet. Because I unironically can't kill them. There's just nothing you could do. I mean, I can use my racial. I'd have to use like a potion every fight. Even then they heal, and they also have the shock, you know, thing that's doing more damage than they are. what a troll mechanic. Like, literally, the fact that, you know, what they're doing is actually doing less than just their cosmetic aura. Level 8. Let's try like once more, but... Or do it when they start to get low, so you're ready to finish them off. And the heal is what's gonna shred me though. I can't do it. Or at least if you wait till that runs out. But he keeps doing it. He keeps recasting it. He's at least low on mana. I'll use the potion. I'll use the potion. I mean, you can do it, I guess, but barely do it. Jesus Christ. I don't have any fish to eat either. Just watch out for humanoid enemies, because obviously the beast we can track. I mean, it makes me almost want to try to do it, but man, I almost just died there. It's not really even worth it to try to prove anything. So we don't have to come back to take down Zalazan because he was too strong for us. We have to come back to kill his little underlings. Just learn goddamn Lightning Shield. Best ability in the game. So it's got to be a level 8, and it's got to be ideal conditions. Although I didn't even complete the hex. See, this is me just going above and beyond, too. I don't have to be doing this right now. But I kind of just want to. There's no way I'll be able to kill level 9. And I would need the racial to be up anyway. This is interesting, though, how much you just hit a wall with this enemy type. It's so hard to deal with. I won't even be able to do the racial, so I don't know what I'm even trying to prove here. Am I gonna aggro something? This is where you get into trouble, dude. Or like pull him to the extent of his aggro range and then see what you can do, and then if it goes wrong you can escape. This is kind of still the wrong way to do it. But you'll try to run between two enemies and aggro both. Look how they're just blocking me the whole way, dude. He'll just chase me till the end of the earth like that chick did. Too bad you can't cast a spell even with all that mana and seeming innate magical potential that you have. What else can I get rid of? Everything is pretty much something I want to keep. I don't want to waste that precious food buff, which could be a meta strategy that we have to use later. Yeah, these guys are insane, dude. That is kind of embarrassing. We have to go tail between our legs and go back to... And we're not even to Tauren or Draenei that would naturally have a tail anyway. We can kill the Hex Troll. It's kind of hard to get in there and even do anything, but look how I stealthily took out Zalazan. This is the kind of creative, epic stuff you have to do. The only concern with this guy is once he starts to run away. These ones aren't too bad. Just hitting you with staves, staves. Immolate is garbage. Just have this guy cheat and buff you with Lightning Shield, which should be impermissible in this kind of hardcore run environment. Should apply to the enemies too. They can't heal each other or help each other out, which normally they don't, actually. They might come to one another's defense, but I don't think they typically heal and buff each other that much. So what we want is the Hex Trolls. I need 3 more. My tracking won't save me here, though. These little emoji faces on the trees can be a little bit unnerving. For sure. See, somebody's going to buff me at some point, or like you'll be about to die. Oh, chest. But see, I don't deserve the chest because I didn't clear it. I didn't clear to it myself. You could say it like that. Right? But they won't even give me the chance, or quite frankly, I wouldn't be able to do it, period. So these people are obviously playing it without a sense of honor, or maybe he did clear that out. I think I saw him use an engineering bomb, for God's sake. At this low level, how would you do that in a genuine hardcore run, assuming he's even doing one? I just hate seeing players, period, though. I was promised dead servers. I thought it was a dead game. The one-timer is actually a good thing. So, where the fuck are these? It does help you find quest mobs, too, like just... You know, even humanoids later you'll be able to find. Especially when there's very few of them. That is utterly ridiculous. That's one of my favorite moments probably from the whole thing so far. The head of an imp. How fitting. So they're basically calling trolls imps? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now? Or just because he's such an evil witch doctor one? That's what his head looks like. Like how you don't get any ammo, which I guess I should have known, but I guess I just didn't care because I never played a hunter. So why would I care on a warrior, a mage, priest, or rogue or something? That there's no general good shop in the starting area, Valley of Trials. You have to wait all the way to get to Senjin Village before you get any ammo. So for example, you have 200 shots, 200 precious shots to get yourself all the way from level 1 to 5 or 6 to be able to get across to Senjin Village, because you wouldn't want to risk taking the trek otherwise, assuming that you're even using the bow in the first place, which on this guy I'm not, but that's besides the point. You would have only 200 shots to get you from your level 1 zone to your level 5 zone, let's say, the middle hub of the area like Goldshire. So that is interesting. They do kind of troll you with that, no pun intended, because it would be true in other leveling zones presumably too. So they really expect 200 shots to last you, which they barely did when I actually did it that way. Assuming that you couldn't just melee stuff anyway, which you clearly can do, but... Yeah, that one, or being able to kill Zalazan all stealthy when I can't even kill his underlings. How ironic is that? He was actually so weak. Like, he was almost weaker than the Hex Trolls, too. Speaking of which... You might think, oh, the whole tagging enemies thing prevents you from getting too much help, but somebody could come and help me kill this without me wanting to or asking for it. That would happen if you're a bigger streamer. So just like the Obra Dinn, one of the moments that makes me grateful to not be a bigger streamer, kind of. We're basically just going to keep farming this one Hex Troll the whole time because it's the only position that I can really get to. The problem with this is, yeah, it will allow you to go into places that you wouldn't normally be able to go into because there'd be too many enemies there, so you don't have to fight your way through normally. As if you're the only one, right? Stuff is going to be cleared for you. That could also hurt you because something will respawn that you didn't even know was there in the first place. Yeah, like I wouldn't be able to get through and into there to where the chest is and stuff anyway, because there would be too many enemies on the way. I can't believe there's so many people here. It's kind of bothering me. Damn it. In a way, it helps you, right? Inadvertently, because it's like there's less stuff for you to potentially aggro. There's less stuff to worry about. Look at that sexy movement she's doing. But if you were a real badass, you wouldn't use the bow in the first place. You wouldn't use a axe in the first place. You wouldn't even use anything. Unarmed. No ability, unarmed run is what the hardcore players like me actually should do. True hardcore gamer. Permadeath professional even. Okay, there are way too many people here actually competing for resources. It's just kind of annoying because it makes it objectively easier and in no way does it make it harder. I don't like that. Music's not really come on in a while. Okay, let's kill off the rest of the Hex Trolls. As far as the Voodoo Trolls, though, I'm not so sure. Or yeah, like somebody will buff you or heal you when you don't want it to do. So there should be a way to turn off all beneficial interactions as well, which I'm pretty positive there's not a way to do that. See, there's just too many clumped up together, so you wouldn't be able to do that unless you were in a group, which of course, to be fair, some of these questing areas and especially, you know, elite areas, even outside of dungeons, are not meant to be done solo. Right, like this is probably meant as a group quest, although it doesn't say that. I mean, some things will later. I just love how he passed to his little altar and that gives you a chance to finish him out. Because otherwise it would have been super hard. So now I'm almost motivated to try to do it without, you know, going back. Even that went away because of how much I've deviated from the quest path. We took out the final boss, but we still have to kill his ads. Let's kill the Hex Troll, and then we have to do I like that sort of implied ego consent, right? You see this in multiplayer games a lot. Like if you play League of Legends, you're a ranked player whose whole life is trying to become a professional esports player, right? You can't just play the game. Or if you play chess, oh haha, you're not even 2000, you're not even a grandmaster, even though you haven't played even close to as much as they have. Right, so that's what I find interesting. So even with a game like this that is clearly like not balanced or anything, you don't have to worry about the PvP or the rating or anything. People will still look at it like that. Oh, like you're killing imps in fucking, you know, you're killing the vile familiars and you're not even doing it in the optimal way. But at least here it adds a sense of like, okay, if I die then you can blame me for that, but you know, so at least there's a high stake. So I'll do it however I do it, but I'll even backpedal my way to 3 successful 1 to 60 permadeath runs, like hardcore before hardcore was even a thing, because those are like the natural things. Like you wouldn't want to use stuff from a main, you wouldn't want to use stuff from a auction house, anything like that. You would just have to find your own way to do it, which is kind of how it would have been originally anyway, because you wouldn't have known that much. Like if you played when the game first came out, which even I didn't do, right? I came to it a little bit later. So we're actually having to compete for these. I don't know if that was attacking somebody and what's it doing. Oh, it is. This kind of ruins the whole immersion of trying to get through an area too. Like I would have to fight my way through to get in that close. So I'm in a place maybe where I wouldn't deserve to be if I go too far. There is totally like a quick to move option too, isn't there, that nobody uses. You should have to play first person quick to move hard mode, where you can only use certain abilities and certain specs and stuff too. Make it, you know, even more of a class build, like the binoculars mage hard mode in Dark Souls. You have to do the whole thing in first person, and you have to only shoot like you're aiming, you know, in that perspective, which they allow you to do. Yeah, you could do first person skill shot only, quick to move, hardcore 1 to 60 permadeath, only use vendor. Look at that clipping though. What is that? You've had 20 years to fix this shit. You had one job. Was it always like that, or did I just notice? Did it change, or did I? Not that I even really leveled in the zone too much. Oh, look at that. This is where they went over the top of the foliage, literally over the top of the tree, where they tried to improve the graphics so much that it actually starts to break out of its confined structure. Are you kidding me that I actually have to compete with other people here? I rolled on the wrong server. This is kind of a boring part. See, people ruin everything. This is that old expression, like, no man is an island or whatever. And then I did this like little RP quote or whatever. Like, it's not being around other people that'll drive you, or no, it's not being alone that'll drive you crazy. It's being around other people that will. It was some sort of cynical RP thing. Or like the elitist victim blamer, where he's walking down the street and he's like American Psycho style talking shit to a homeless guy. Just get a job. At least there's a certain amount of respect that people won't try to help you kill stuff. It would totally invalidate the run in a certain sense if you were about to die and somebody helps you and saves you, but you wouldn't be able to stop because it's just like that. You can turn off hostile interactions for the most part, unless somebody does some really creative troll, but you can't turn off friendly interactions. Now, two things will like respawn at the same time, which I would have never done that because I would never kill two things at the same time, but somebody else will, or two other people coincidentally will kill two things right next to each other at the exact same time. So therefore they'll spawn at the same time, so therefore they'll catch you off guard and actually kill you. Now he's level 8, so I'm fine with that. This is still kind of in the quadrant where we should be allowed to go. The problem is you're not going to be able to... Now this is actually bad because you're attacking him faster in such a way that'll make you more vulnerable to the shield. Even if I use the potion, I might still not be able to do it. Or once they go it's kind of a one-way street for them. It's very tight still. Now he'll heal again. Watch. Yeah, I'm letting myself get way too close. The lightning shield alone will just kill me, dude. Or he'll just turn around and crit me. So we'll be able to get first aid and bandages and all kinds of stuff. I don't know if you can do that at Razor Hill or not. I don't even have room for the fish. There's nothing I have that's even in gray that would be expendable. Let's see if we can't find another voodoo troll that wouldn't be... Man, this one is actually quite exhaustive. Who knew that the easiest part would just be killing Zalazane, who's not only the highest level, but he's the boss and sort of the named NPC. Imagine if they used elites for stuff like that, then you'd have no choice but to do it in a group or at a much higher level. Which some of that stuff might be annoying. Like, what if there's a class quest that requires you to do a dungeon? You just can't do it then. I don't remember that being much of an issue with my other characters. Or usually they'll just give you like a really good item that you know, don't deserve to use. Just use some white you get from a vendor for like 5 gold that does, you know, garbage damage for whatever level you're at. Like even this is seriously my best in slot that I can get from a vendor right now, or at least from a vendor in Senjin Village. And before, I'm trying to like unlock each area, you know, one at a time too. So I do every quest to be able to move on to the next one. We killed Zalazane here, but I don't really understand. Kind of a bad decision. At least he won't do the charge here, so if you get in close, that's a good thing. Like a warrior would charge in and stop them from doing a long-range ability. So let's see. Yeah, it took me actually 2 expansions, though, to actually decide to make another class, or at least to get the class all the way there. I'd make a whole bunch of alts at low levels, but I would never get them all the way to max. There's almost none of these that I can kill, though. Just because of the positioning, or because everybody else is killing them, so they just kind of ruin the experience already, even on what is supposed to be a dead server. Kind of dangerous. You might aggro the tiger. Yeah, so they'll end up helping you in inadvertent ways. So I'll make a point not to loot stuff like that. I just only realized now, like, oh, I'll go grab the chest that's just there and everything is clear. But I wouldn't have been able to clear that camp myself, or if I did, at least I should have to put myself at risk to do it. So therefore, I shouldn't be allowed to do that. Even if I had to kill Zalazane because of that, I killed him in a way that would be guaranteed, because anybody could just climb the cliff right from behind the altar and just do that. You wouldn't have to worry about killing all the enemies in front. So that had nothing to do with, you know, other people potentially clearing stuff out. I'm losing a lot of potential money in doing this. This is why killing humanoid NPCs is so good. You don't even have to worry about space, and you might get a bag to extra drop, which I haven't been too lucky with, but then again, I didn't kill too many of those, or in fact, I've killed none, unless you count the Makrura, which probably don't drop bags, or they shouldn't have the highest chance to do so. This is kind of cancer, actually. I can't believe I actually have to deal with other people. They will find a way, no matter how unlikely, to ruin everything. Now, this guy's going to aggro and kill me. How amazing. Like, I'll actually just have to wait for these 8 times over. Or if I feel like that's a possibility, let's just pull it back. Actually, good use of backpedaling. Now, what we have to do here is just kill 1 more of these and then 6 more of the other one. So even if I was able to do it, like how I'm doing it against all odds, even willing to use a potion like each time, it's going to be hard to even find any that we can kill. And now I feel bad about killing the ones if they're further on. Either because we'll get respawns and actually get screwed, or that we didn't kill, or I shouldn't be able to go that far organically. Oh my god. Hopefully it won't be like this on higher level areas, but it'll probably be even worse. So Zalazane is padding there, so does that mean that we could pull something out? I guess not. Let's check behind his little altar there. But most of these aren't going to be trolls, it'll just be wildlife. I mean, you could try to kill some of these. Very risky, though. You should never really try to fight in these encampments, but sometimes you'll have to. Or you could send your pet in, but then it's going to aggro like 50 things to you. Or at least get the pet killed, which is a very big price we have to pay here. Imagine if Zalazane aggroes from the edge of the rock. I always have a habit of saying that. Like, imagine if this thing happens, and then it happens, and then it ends my run. Not that that ever happens, of course, but when I say it, I should follow my own advice and try to stop it from happening in the first place. That's what people can never do with me. Like, I'll do something they think is impossible because they only think in the very linear way. Like, everybody has to do it this one exact way, and they're going to metagame and min-max and this and that. And then I love that my take on speedrunning. Like, one time somebody's cat will jump on their keyboard and they'll sneeze, and that'll set a new record. So now everybody will copy that metric too. Get your cat to jump at just the right time at that one moment. Just do it by accident. Yeah, this is easy enough to kill, and this is the last one that I have to kill, so now it's just a question of the voodoo trolls. I love to sweep the outside of areas. Like, I theoretically would never be able to get that chest because I can't kill that many that close to each other without the implied sort of help of other people. This one I'd be able to kill no matter what. We almost have a full stack, or actually we do have a full stack exactly of water. Not that I think I'll ever really need it. Okay, we'll use the water trick here that we've learned. We're getting better and better at swimming, so we might be able to handle swimming all the way back in one shot this time. Imagine that, without having to touch any of the other islands. I love that woman's aggro range earlier. She literally, I got her to 1 health and I was just like, fuck it, I don't even want to mess with this, but then she still chased me to the ends of the earth. Okay, can we just not do this? They do have a certain ability to come in the shallow water. Maybe that corresponds to what water you're able to fish in. Whatever the tigers and land-based enemies are able to walk over is not fishable water until it gets too deep for them. That's how you would know in a more literal sense. Not that you would ever need to use that as a metric, but... Okay. Definitely fall in love with using the racial a ton whenever it's up, which you probably should do, but also potentially save it for a time when you really need it. You're going to be almost level 10. In fact, this whole experience should get me to level 10. The real reward I was hoping to reap was like the fishing pole, but we're just not getting enough money. Before we move on to Tiragard Keep and stuff, which really we'd have to go to Razor Hill, I think, first to even get those quests. We would want to be an expert fisherman, apprentice, learn that from the guy in the hut, and also I would want to do the other thing. Get the fishing pole from the shop. And it gives you an idea of how long these fights are taking, too. Like, every 3 fights, you can use the racial again. Of course, this is not my time zone. 8:54 is my real time. I like how on some of these things, like, the time is just always wrong, even if I set it. Like, on Le Chess, it's never right. For some reason. I don't have any food. This is a pretty optimal spot on the outer ring. Although some of those chicks in the hut are concerning. I'll pull him back. I'll have the racial. I think it works better when I use the racial in like the middle. See, we're even metagaming and having to learn how the best way to approach these is. There's a pretty clear path to the water if I need to run away. And so you should always do it in such a way that you pull them super far away. If I get a respawn, though, I am concerned. I do have at least 1 potion, which you should always have as a contingency. You can't really wait till their thing runs out either, because they'll just keep recasting it. But then at least that does burn through their mana. Or his heal maybe is what burns through his mana a lot. Do it like now, which means I'm also taking more damage from the perspective of the lightning thing. I mean, I'd rather not use a potion, but I might even feel like I have to. So I'm going to be stingy and die because of it. Look at this. I'm getting lucky with the dodges. I can't believe this. You get them to run away just in time, so I guess that saves you. Malachite stack, thank God, because otherwise I'd be screwed. Did they change maybe some stuff like that? Because for some reason I feel like maybe it was just so rare that while leveling you never really would stack it. I never really did any fucking engineering and stuff anyway, but they would have casualized and simplified even stuff like that, so I wouldn't be allowed to do that, let's say. So we need only 5 more. The hardest part is actually finding them to kill, because I don't feel like I deserve to do it otherwise. Okay, this guy I didn't mean to do, but he got me from behind the tree pretty sneaky-like. If you can see them, they can see you. The old expression I used in a short story. I've got a million of them. For every situation, I have some random quote that I wrote about something. The guy's like acting all friendly with somebody who he doesn't really like, and then he sees them in the rear view mirror, and the guy next to him says, don't do that. Like, if you can see them, they can see you. So like, even though you think you're being sneaky and seeing him from behind through the rear view mirror, it's still not safe to look, because what if he sees you there giving him this dirty look or whatever he was doing? It's like the art of war. If you have sight on your enemy, they could have sight on you, even if you don't know it. That you think you're spying on them through binoculars, but they're spying on you from some other third vantage point. It's like the meme of the gun, whatever it's from, person of interest. Somebody sitting in a church held at gunpoint, then that person holding them at gunpoint is being held at gunpoint, and then there's a sniper holding them all at gunpoint. I don't think I even watched that far into the thing, but now what I don't have here is the racial, and I won't be able to use it necessarily in time. Either I'll use a potion or I'll just die. Look at how much I'm putting myself at risk, though. This is totally not necessary. I'll just use the potion. I don't even care. I unironically will just do it. Then I'm going to be tempted to wait too long. You should have gone into this with the racial. Dude, you should have done it. I'm going to be so stingy. I'm going to be so stingy. Oh, the fear is what really saves you. The fact that they run away. That's what I mean. If you fight to the last like an actual beast of the wild, you should learn from them. Then you would kill me every time, because I wouldn't be able to survive the end of that. Right? Just go all out. Try to kill me before I kill you. Gotta have the eye of the tiger, as they say. Okay, we need only 4 more. These are actually insanely hard to kill, though. I like this. First, legitimately hard, if not impossible, enemy type. And we're so close to level 10 that could end up helping me out. Let's keep sweeping the outside. I don't feel comfortable going too much closer into the thing. The Hex Troll, which I don't even really want to fight, but you arguably should, to make space. Not just to grind power level experience, but not only is there not a rule against it, but just because of the way I play it naturally, probably that would happen too. Just like trying to do every quest and stuff. Explore around, fish in every body of water. Or I'd be like the guy who got from 1 to max level in Mist of Pandaria just by doing professions when they finally added that capability. It probably took forever. Not only did he do that, but he did it only in the starting zone, I think, which is, maybe that wouldn't be me. That'd be a little bit too boring, but see, one thing I don't like in certain hard modes, as much as I'm a big hard mode fan of a lot of games, is that, like, I still want to be able to use most of the resources in the game. So that's one thing that's maybe not good about this, is that, like, there's a lot of items and things you just won't be able to ever use. You want to be able to use everything, but then still have to push it to its limit to succeed, just because the values are increased or something like that. So, like, you could do a different run where you can have the best in slot gear, even from dungeons and stuff, but then you have to fight stuff like 5 levels higher than you or something, and try to push the limits there. Or try to solo dungeons at the earliest possible point that you could do that. Like, for example, at level 30, try to solo Dead Mines, although that's why it's called Dead Mines. You wouldn't be able to, obviously. At level 40, you can make a hard mode out of that. Single player solo dungeon. Of course, then you'd be allowed to die as much as you want, and you might have to. Like soloing SM Cat as a mage at level 60 was actually hard, even because my gear wasn't that good at that time. It was like a whole hard mode thing I was just trying to do. Let's see if the raptor aggroes. If it does, I can go in the water. Oh, this isn't even the right one, though. It's going to be pretty much always in the same spot that I end up killing the same ones that respawn. So, unfortunately, I think some of these players sort of ruined this experience, but it's okay. It is still genuinely hard, as far as even when you're trying to just disavow them altogether, they find a way to be annoying. I wish you dropped those shoulders, even just as a cosmetic thing. Or even just shoulders in general are pretty rare at this low level. Yeah, why can't one of these drop a bag since they're humanoids? Like I keep saying, they have some voodoo magic to just have a bottomless bag to put stuff into, like in Dark Souls. You don't have to worry about the Terror Guard keep people, just get it here. This is actually super unlucky, or maybe they did drop one and I just didn't notice. All this weird stuff that I have just for like RP purposes, or it could potentially save my life. So never go into combat with the voodoo troll without the racial up, and then use it more around the middle of their health, not at the beginning. So it puts more pressure on them to heal and gives them a little bit of knockback and so forth. Yeah, the whole competing for enemies is fine. I don't mind that with other players, although it is unnecessary as part of this experience. But what I do mind is, again, if they clear stuff that you wouldn't be able to, or in a way that kind of helps you, you don't have to worry about stuff aggroing, not because you killed it, but because they did. This is what I have to do, is like fight my way through every little thing. And then, of course, a respawn could catch you out. Like going into here, it kind of scares me already. I don't want to. I was even trying to aggro him, but he wouldn't come out to play. Little voodoo magic mind trick. I'm surprised Hero of the Storm did so badly. Like, with all the universes combined and everything, it was a genius idea. How ironic, too, that, you know, the game that spawned it... Oh, look how she's hiding there. The game that spawned it was Warcraft 3, made by them in the first place, but then, when it comes down to actually making a Dota like that themselves, they just fail to do it, or it doesn't do as well as the... you know, one that existed within their game, or even the one that's based on the one that existed within their game. I do have a potion. They're not even healing, though. That's what's throwing me off. Where's the heal, dude? She never learned that. Like me, doesn't go to the class trainer until you absolutely have to, or she ran out. She didn't go to a Razor Hill equivalent trainer. You gotta watch out for the wild beasts. That'll be my excuse if I aggro too many. I just love them. I'm a hunter for a reason. I'm in touch with nature, like druids. So druids and hunters will spend most of their experience killing random beasts in the wild because of how much they love them. They want to purge them of their impurities or something. It's kind of a hard RP to justify. Because you'll be in nature zones a lot, like Feralis and this and that. Okay, Hex Troll I don't want. We need only 3 more, but most of them are on the inside. Right, like that's very dangerous to even aggro, and my cooldown's not up, so you basically have to wait 2 minutes in between these encounters anyway. I think turning in the quest alone would probably level me here. We've had very little rested experience so far. I almost don't even want to get rested experience. Like, I'll try not to log out in cities, because it's meant to be that kind of a long playthrough. But then again, you get it for logging out anyway. So a week's worth was like from here to here. Right from the, like 25% maybe. Equivalent. Yeah, that is the most nasty ability so far that we face, is just the lightning shield. Kind of dangerous going in like that. I'm getting a little bit cocky. We'll get some kind of reward from this, either the fishing pole or the apprentice fishing. We're getting a little bit of money from the trolls, of course. Just copper and stuff drops, which with this limited space and my unwillingness to part with anything, being sort of a hoarder, I have no choice but to deal with it. Did I just get 11 copper from that? Interesting. You ask and you shall receive, kind of like that same meme about how come random stuff is just dropping tons of coins. He had one stuck in his teeth. He had a gold tooth. Okay, this is actually fine too, but it's very hard to get in here to kill any of these voodoo trolls, I must admit. His immolate was so powerful, it seemed to actually drop a few of my frames there for a second. Yeah, why does this guy seem kind of laggy or something? I avoided having to use another potion. When did I even use it? I thought I was going to die to something, but then I didn't really need it. Or maybe I did, I forgot. It wasn't even Zalazane who did it, and I love how even potions can crit. See, this is a good single-player consideration. Like, I always say that with Skyrim. Skyrim lets you spam items, and like, you can eat 100 potatoes and carrots and spam potions during combat. Games like that should have a cooldown, too. You can use any one you want, but then it has a 2-minute cooldown. So then you couldn't just stay alive on life support by spamming 1,000,000 of them, which is not that hard over time to get that many. So, like, you know what I mean? You shouldn't be able to do that. So I set my own rule, like, oh, I can't use potions at all. Or you could make it so you can only use one every X amount of time. You'd have to keep track yourself. That just feels like something in single-player games that should be not permissible. At least Dark Souls does it in such a way that you can use as many humanities as you want, but... Or at least Estus was a way to try to control that. Like, they control how many healing items you can have at once. How about just none? But both Demon Souls and Dark Souls 2... Dark Souls 1... No, Dark Souls 2 has the lesser soul gems too. The humanities are at least super hard to get, and you wouldn't want to waste them just to heal most of the time. But... it's kind of like... when it comes to the humanity issue... You know, you could use as many as you want, but at least they account for how long it takes, right? It takes even longer to use than an Estus class. So if you're doing it in the middle of a boss fight or during combat, you at least have to find a safe spot, which isn't that hard to do most of the time, but, you know, it kind of be the same window in which you could potentially attack them. But yeah, you could really have 99 humanities, and you don't have to worry about it that way. It would just take forever to sort of farm them out and whatnot. The Hex Troll, so where is it? We end up killing kind of the same ones over and over. But I think I missed one in the rotation of 2 sort of respawning. There's always one over here. Respawn rates aren't too bad. If I have to run away, you should clear a path. You should not only pull them away normally just in case something goes wrong, but you should also make sure there's a way to get away without aggroing a bunch of stuff. Or we can be about to level so we could take on more than one at a time. That's like a Paper Mario strategy, right? You go into a boss fight like where you fight 2 things back to back. I remember that for like Golbez. You beat Golbez, he levels you up so that when you fight Bowser right after with no break, you get to max health, right? That's such a good way to do it. Hex Troll, Hex Troll. The Voodoo Troll should be here any minute, or maybe some other clown NPC player, mindless player sheep, killed it instead. How can you find a way to be toxic even in a single player playthrough? Dung Pai King speaking here, who did that run of Dark Souls way before. I hate that. Like, it's not even that I want credit for stuff I did, but I hate when everybody acts like somebody posted a video of them doing that like 5 years later. Like, wow, what a crazy thing to do. So impressive. And it's like, dude, this was done like literally 5-6 years ago. That's what I don't like. That's why I should have... I guess I wasn't so vain that I cared to upload stuff or whatever, but that is actually bullshit that you... I don't know. It's even just like the interest of creating the format as an idea. Forget about actually doing it. That's what I'm even better at than hard mods and permadeaths, is just coming up with ideas like Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Do a not even a hitless run, because I'm not a big fan of those, but like how about just a level 1 run? And it's like, how do you do that? Don't fight any enemies or don't kill any enemies. So you only fight bosses. And you might think, how would that be possible? It's possible because you can mitigate every attack. Just mitigate the damage, right? You can mitigate 100%. You don't have to worry about action commands that like leave you with one that mitigate part of it. Like Paper Mario, you can't do that. Because, well, first of all, you would, I guess you can skip most of the enemies, but you wouldn't really be able to. Or you'd have to rely on items a lot. That could have almost been a Dark Souls build, like where, you know, you're an explorer, where you can use any item you want, as many as you want, but you can't... Okay, here it is. You can't actually use any abilities or weapons or anything, let's say. Like Firebomb, Spammer, or something like that. What was I saying with that? Like, I forgot. So do the racial at the very tail end here. Or like in the middle, I mean. I mean, I have the potion if I really need it, but this shield is so intimidating. Like, look how much damage I'm doing to myself. Unavoidably. Of course, my weapon and such is not the greatest in the world, but... Now, her mana's full, so I might feel compelled to... Maybe these female ones just don't heal for some reason. They're more honorable than the male ones. Actually true. Look at that. Or I'm doing it in such a way that she gets in the fear zone before she's able to do it, because I use my high damage ability later. Okay, there should at least be one more to kill on the other side, then we'll come back and maybe kill this one again as the last one. Very interesting experience, very tough enemy type that I probably shouldn't have put myself at risk by trying to do like that. As long as you have at least one potion. That should almost be a rule. Never go into combat without at least one potion, but you might not have any. And so you might not be able to get any. You don't have any money. But I mean, at this stage, I already wasted one. Look at these clowns working together. Shouldn't be allowed. Everything's a hardcore run now. I'm going to tell people how to play like they accuse me of. If you tell them how not to play by like only focusing on one area of the game, they use false duality to say, oh, ha ha, he just wants everybody to play like him. Meanwhile, if you don't play like everybody else and speedrun stuff, you just can't play at all, because, or like the servers will die out. So there is no alternative. If you're going to raid, please don't help. Please don't help. But see, they would, no, you fucking piece of shit. You know, I don't want credit for that one. Not that it should matter, but it does matter, because I'll still get experience for it, won't I? From the dot. I mean, you can be the judge of that yourself, like whether you think somebody was going to die there. But in my book, I'm very strict about stuff like that. Like, that should invalidate the whole run for anybody, but you can't stop it from happening. So stupid. Like, why? Why would you even do that? Okay. Hex troll. I thought there was another voodoo troll here that I kept killing. I only need 2 more. These clowns are probably going to kill it. Hex troll, hex troll. That's what moving with the mouse prevents you from doing too, is like messing around and looking at stuff. Taking in the ambiance. There are some over here, but it's like very constricted. You kind of have to wait 2 minutes anyway, so it's not even like I'm waiting for the respawn. I'm waiting for my thing. I'll aggro one in here and get myself killed for the first time ever. Like, I've never really tried to mess with these ones. What is the skull on the other island then? That must be some other quest, or maybe I'll get it even after this one, which seems unlikely. Or maybe that's like where I'm supposed to bury it to honor him, although I don't see why. I guess there weren't any of these nasty voodoo trolls on that island. So Zalazane comes back to life and you have to kill him again, like in the beginning of Cataclysm or something, and that's how you actually, you know, do whatever. Okay, let's do this. These were actually giving me maybe a little bit of trouble earlier where I felt like I had to use my ability, but I guess it had a lot to do with the level. I was just like a little bit lower. The difference of 1 or 2 levels makes a big difference, especially at these lower levels. If you fight something just 2 levels above you, you could get yourself killed. That's part of the problem with these voodoo trolls, is just that they're also level 9. At least, man, there's really no way to stop that from happening, dude. It's so annoying. Like, what are you getting out of doing that? It's not even like you think, oh, I'm about to die, so I need the help. Although if that was the case, that'd be even worse, because that shouldn't be permissible. But yeah, in terms of a first playthrough experience, it's not bad to have, you know, have to compete for resources and stuff. That clipping is really disturbing. Come on. Where is it? We'll have at least one here. I didn't think I would have to be worrying about stuff like this as much, because I thought it was a dead game. I should have done this sooner, before people found this gimmick mod to use, because they don't have the imagination to come up with stuff themselves. That's really what it is. So now I'm being a bit of a nitpicker. Even when people do things that are generally good and I would encourage, still the reason for them doing it is wrongly motivated. I want to show off on the add-on, lol. Wait for this stupid guy to respawn. Yeah, like really, how do you stop that from happening? You just can't. Okay, I mean, I guess we'll be here for a while. I almost was discouraged when I first fought one. Like, I won't be able to kill it. But you have to wait for them to kind of go or you have to use your racial ability, like right smack dab in the middle. And this is a very measurable experience too, because you can kind of see my gear, and you know that, like, try to do it this exact same way. You might say, oh, those enemies aren't so hard, lol, because you're using some kind of twin gear or whatever. But using Seasoned Fighter's Cloak, Ragged Leather Vest, Trapper's Shirt, Ragged Leather Bracers, Tomahawk, Ragged Leather Boots, Worn Leather Pants, Ragged Leather Belt, and Battle-Worn Leather Gloves, in conjunction with only being able to use Raptor Strike and no other items or anything. You could use a potion, maybe, arguably. How hard would it be to kill these? Exactly as hard as I'm showing you, because there's nothing really different that you could do. So that's how you know it's measurable. I'm showing the objective optimal strat of how you do them as a troll, at least. The risky thing with the orc racial is that you don't have the ability to, or you actually take more damage. That's the problem. So all I want to do here is I want to kill this guy, but he's not spawning, so I just give up. So just 2 more. They're maybe a lot harder to kill than I would have thought, and we are going to get to level 10, and we will get to see the talent tree, but I guess I'll look at it next time. I'm not going to worry about it right now in great detail. So we'll sort of decide between survival and beast mastery, just for the fact of if there's a good melee ability that's sort of repeatable. I kind of forget, but then again, nobody would have ever really done that anyway. I could go survival for that, or I'll probably just go beast mastery, because that's the whole theme of this run anyway. Warcraft Pokemon trainer in the flesh. Sort of a fun build idea that you kind of handicap yourself, wing clip yourself, so that you're able to rely on the pet more. You have to, not just because it's so overpowered and it'll save your life and tank all the damage for you, but because of the fact that you basically get to do so little damage. Because a lot of your damage is going to come from abilities, like your shooting abilities that you don't have. Forget about even auto shot versus auto attack, because your auto attack might be decent. The only ability I can think of is this and Mongoose Bite and Wing Clip, which doesn't do damage. It just kind of slows them down by a very impressive 50%. Now the one guy spawns here, so I don't get it. And as soon as I fight this, he's going to spawn an aggro. That could be the most common thing that would get you killed, is just unexpected respawn, untimely. I don't need to use the ability for this. I did find Warlocks to be like the most interesting conceptual class in this game, or at least they're unique. Even though I didn't play as one, the fact that they have such a hard commitment to dots. Immolate is more dot focused, even though it does damage. Siphon Life, Corruption, Curse of Agony, like it's not just that you have a dot, it's that you're built so hardcore around dots. Like, try to find that class in other games, and you almost just won't be able to. Our racial is still up, so everything's good. Right, I almost asked for that on Wikipedia or on Reddit or something. Tell me a game where you can play a class like a warlock in WoW, and there just aren't any. It's very, very rare. Or you'll have like one dot or something very minor, or you have to build it in a very specific way to make that possible. I'm very close to level 10, which is nice. I'm going to need to kill still one more of these, and I can't seem to find them anywhere else besides this. I keep saying like, oh, I might have to use the potion, but thankfully I haven't had to. Right when you get them to like half, now you do it. And so now, even if he heals, it's not a big deal. Don't help me. Or like they'll put some stupid buff on you, which you shouldn't even be able to do in combat. They were hunters marking. Imagine using a bow. What a loser. Ha ha. Jesus Christ. The kind of stuff I come up with, though, is sometimes very cruel. Let's take away your core, most important mechanic, and it'll still be easy because your pet is just going to carry you. We should get a bird so it can carry all that weight. Am I right? Like Paracarry in Paper Mario hard mode. Is this a voodoo troll? It is, but I can't do it. I have to wait 2 minutes anyway. And it is a level 9, which is concerning. I don't think any of the female ones have healed. Why do only the male ones heal? And even sometimes they don't. But that's the whole timing. If you use your frenzy ability at the beginning, they'll heal very quickly because you're getting them down with enough time for them to process it. But if you do it in the middle, now they're worried about dying and they're almost about to run away in fear. So you can kind of get away with not doing that. Oh, I love this. We're stacking up Malachite for our little engineering build that I might well do, which might feel like cheese, but let me guess. She's going to steal the voodoo troll. Fuck. Guess we'll just have to wait for the one on the other side, or I'll take one more trip around. So this was a more tedious, kind of annoying experience. Partly because of how hard these are to kill, but also partly because of the other players, which I didn't expect to be such an issue. I like how you can also track the reps as like a secondary experience bar. Not that you should really, worry too much about that here, but it's cool as an option. So like when I think I saw an image of that like early on in the game, I'm like, this guy's level 60, but why does he still have an experience bar? But it was obviously a green rep one. And why does it look different? Does that mean you can get past level 60? Obviously very early on in the game, but or there was that image in like the box of the game that you got that was like with like a dwarf with some special name like Hammerfell. Like that's where they got the name for Hammerfell for Arathi. And what else? It had something in there that maybe is not a real thing. He's like fighting a Yeti or something. If you know, you know. I don't know if that was something that everybody got or that was some special edition of it. I don't think it was special. And then I got like some Warcraft 3 battle chest thing, which was like, it came with Warcraft 3, Frozen Throne, and something else. Now, some of the Blizzard games I haven't played as much as a fan of them as I am. I've never really played StarCraft. I've only played very little of Diablo. What else is there? There's always some obscure game that they made super early on that nobody associates with them. Yeah, I'd have to do like a first playthrough permadeath of StarCraft, even though I suck at RTS games. Anything where like you can't take your time to soak it in. Right? Like Dark Souls, I can take as much time as I want. Like just exploring the world, enjoying myself, immersing myself, reading the flavor text. And then when it comes time for a boss fight, fine, we have to do it. But with an RTS game, you can't enjoy yourself in the middle of a level because it's all just you're on the clock. You have to make stuff, you have to build stuff, you have to control units. There's just too much going on. So that's why even Don't Starve is one of my favorite games of all time. Or even Warcraft 3, I guess I could say is, especially for the story. But both of them I struggle with. I'm not very good at them. And Don't Starve, it took me forever to get through my first winter, although I did play it completely blind. But yeah, what was that even Steam review of it where I said it's like the anti-wiki game? It's meant to be played without a wiki, and it could be brutal because of it, but it's so amazing if you do. Like, I'd love to play Minecraft like that too, but I think they even put tutorials and stuff in the game, when the whole beauty and point of it was not to do that, although obviously everybody must have. So I'll play a blind first playthrough of Minecraft, even though I played it a little bit before, and like figure out how to craft stuff for the first time, and it'll be like super slow and super annoying maybe to watch, but that's my specialty. I'm still like antithetical to all the things that people would do for views. The biggest thing is just like playing games just to beat them, which I never do. I play them to sort of really flesh them out or, you know, do something unique with them. And in fact, like with open world games, I play them not to beat them. Played Skyrim for like thousands of hours, but I've never beat it. Nor do I have any intent really to do so. I'm not even going to put this. I'm not even going to look at it. We'll save that for next episode. We get to see our talent tree. Because I didn't expect to get this far level-wise. You just have to wait for this one last respawn. We go back to town. We celebrate by learning how to fish better or by getting the fishing pole. Either one. If the quests give me enough money, I might do that. 1 hour and 40 minutes for level 9 to 10. I guess it doesn't feel that bad, but I'm certainly not in a hurry. And in fact, I thought turning in the quest would be what would put us over the top, but this is taking so long. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really say I would grind this much, but the main reason why I would do this is to explore areas. So the part that I'm kind of nervous about exploring is that. I might come back at like level 20 just to see what's there and loot that chest and stuff, just for the fuck of it, because that's the kind of thing I like to do. But, okay, let's wait for this last spawn. Yeah, this is kind of not really the way I would want to play it, but either there's just not enough of these, or players are killing them, or just something is up with them. Yeah, I love what a meme that is, though, how long it took for each of the gnomes and the kind of the nice way to put it, like, oh, Zalazane was such a big threat, we did the best we could, or Gnomeregan was infested by all this leper gnome aura and stuff, so it would have been infectious, so we have to wait to go in there. That's the nice way, the pragmatic way for the Alliance and Horde to assure them that we totally care about your plight, about those shitty Echo Isles that you care so much about. We're totally not neglecting it and putting our troops in other areas of the world. Wink, wink. That is totally like a propaganda point. And there might even be some dialogue and stuff like that in Cataclysm. Like, why did it take us so long to get there? I think I remember reading some quest text like that. Like, despite how much we've been focusing on the Scourge, and despite how much we've been focusing on the Burning Legion, and all these different things, we still can't forget about our ancestral home, or this or that. Of course, to be fair, the orcs are pretty much out of their element too. It's not like their home is Durotar. It does become that now, but they're from Draenor, and they might miss other, things that they're used to, so they're dealing with it. You have to deal with your shitty Sen'jin village, and the Tauren are kind of at home in Mulgore. I don't think they've been, or no, I think they were pushed out by the Centaur. They used to live in like other areas, like Stone Talon Mountains and Thousand Needles and Desolace, and all those got fucked up by wildlife and Centaur and other things. And even the whatever happened to Desolace, I forget actually what the in-lore explanation is. Like, for example, Duskwood you might think has to do with the Scourge, but it actually doesn't, right? It had to do with like the Riders and the Headless Horsemen or some other, I forget. Or Karazhan maybe more so. Right, like Karazhan has to do with wait, what? Are they trolling me? They're changing the way the spawn works. This is not supposed to be a hex troll. It's supposed to be a voodoo troll. I'm getting actually trolled. But no, yeah, like Karazhan only looks like that. What's it called? Duskwood Pass? Or wait. How could I forget that? Don't do this shit during combat. We learned that from Lord of the Rings, although you should just learn it from common sense. Looting during combat, one of my specialties, like... yes, they have a 1% chance to spawn a hex troll instead of a voodoo troll. And we get to see that interaction. Or maybe it's somewhere like slightly different? No. Yeah, what is it called? Deadwind Pass, right. The Deadwind Pass is only like that. It used to be... That is actually such a great lore answer. Like, why does Duskwood and Deadwind Pass look like that when next to it is Elwyn Forest and Stranglethorn Vale? It doesn't make any sense, but it's because of all the twisted magic and shit that Medivh did that warped it to become like that. And I like how Malchezaar is a final boss of a raid that has, not only does it have no real lore associated with it, or at least at the time, for the final boss of such a significant, the first raid of the expansion, basically, why does it not have any lore? But also it has sort of anti-lore. Like, he somehow has Gorehowl. He picked it off the dead body of Magtheridon or whatever. Not Magtheridon. What was his name? Whatever, you know what I mean, like the Pit Lord. He took it off his dead body just because. He was just there, I guess. So somehow he has Gorehowl, even though it has nothing to do with him. And he's also the final boss of Karazhan just because somehow Medivh did some experiment to let him in there, or he found a way in there because Medivh opened a portal to another dimension. But it's so ambiguous. Like, there really is no attached lore to him. I don't mind it, and his voice lines are pretty badass, sort of like unintentional ASMR as he's beating you to death. But alright, he healed all the way. She healed. You gotta get some of this gear just to RP with, like the shoulder from the males and the mask from the chicks. So yeah, she broke my stereotype that women don't heal. Female voodoo trolls don't heal. They really weren't, though. I guess I was using my ratio at such a perfect time that they wouldn't be able to do that. Humans have the strongest racial ability because of real life, am I right? Ha ha ha. Okay, let's go here. Now we can prove that we can swim all the way without needing to touch the land. Let's actually prove to ourselves, because we never have to come back here now, unless we have to go back to the other set of skulls. Yeah, we'll figure out the talents next time. We might figure out professions. We might get a pet. All these things. We might go to Razor Hill. In fact, probably inevitably. The biggest thing I wanted to camp off with is the the fishing, but I don't think I can afford it. I can afford the ability. I can't afford the actual the item for it from the shop, which I'm afraid might not be there. And I don't know how that works actually when it says, you know, we feel bad, like, oh, this water is too shallow. I don't want to touch the ground for even a second. It doesn't matter even if something aggro's on land, because it won't be able to chase us here. Look at how much we fleshed out that experience at the Sen'jin Isles for the first time ever doing it, kind of. I don't really remember doing it. Maybe I never did. Because even if I played as like the troll rogue, I don't think I went here. I might have just dicked around somewhere else. You could just skip right to Razor Hill. Like, look, I'm already level 10. So you could say I'm totally over leveling or whatever, but that wasn't even the intent. Nor is there really any rule against it. You're still putting yourself at risk by, you know, fighting stuff arguably over your level or not questing as much as... Yeah, because really, what does that even mean? You could do whatever you want anyway. You'd just be doing quests at the same time. Like, what does it mean to overlevel? I guess just fighting stuff below your level, but you can still do that. In fact, that's the best thing to do. Fight stuff like 2 levels under you. It's not even like a permadeath hardcore advice. It's almost like a leveling advice, period. Because you'd rather kill like 5 things that are 2 level under you rather than kill like 2 or 3 things that are 2 levels above you, because it would take that much longer to kill them. Or even at your level. The Hikaru phrase when he's coaching XQC. At your level, don't worry about that. He kept saying that, I think, the first time. At your level, at your level. Chat, love that. Yeah, I love how much intrigue some of these people draw by, like, fun being made of them. Like how... Yeah, that's why I totally am pretending to be bad since coming back to streaming. I'm trying to, like, farm Pepega and farm, you know, how bad I am, instead of just being a god tier gamer, because you get more attention for being stupid and bad and having people laugh at you than actually being impressed by what you do to an extent. Of course, you get people like Hikaru and Faker and Shroud. Shroud is a bit of a god gamer himself. And I was so impressed by his WoW stream, actually. I was watching that a little while ago. Just how seriously he takes it and everything is incredible.
What you want?
Let me guess, it'll be just out of my reach because of the goddamn fact that I have to sell stuff. Literally one. I'll even kill a centaur to farm out. It starts with the centaurs with this guy, rescuing him from them, so he teaches us, at least in our RP, and it ends with them by having to get copper to actually prove ourselves. Did we actually even fish behind him to prove that we're worthy of doing this? The problem is I don't even have room to be able to do that. There's nothing I even want to get rid of. I could go back and sell stuff. Or we'll prove it to him that we deserved it after. Or we finally earned the right to do it. It wasn't enough to rescue him. It wasn't enough to show our fishing prowess and fish in every pond that we've seen so far. It wasn't enough to pay him 5 silver. But now we can finally do it. Now all you have to do is sell the stuff. And we can just end off on the fishing note. So I'll turn in the quest next time, and I'll turn in the... Figure out the talents, figure out the pet maybe, figure out the professions. It'll be a lot of utility stuff. Assuming the professions can even be learned in Razor Hill, which I don't think they can. Or at least mining can. So again, how much of the mining stuff can you really get without using the auction house? Probably not too much of it, or it'll be super rare. So you have to... That's why I'm being so stingy. How much malachite am I really going to get? I guess from doing the mining nodes, you might get a certain amount. I'm only using this as a dumping ground for my items. I'm not even paying attention. La 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 la. Ignoring Master Gathering, ignoring you. I got shit to do. There's another quest here that wasn't there before. How many levels did I get from doing the Echo Isles thing? I think I got like... Well, basically today I started with... Today I started with 3. Actually, there's nothing to even sell. What the fuck? Oh, I wanted to fish for that guy.
Spirits be with ya, man.
Fine, maybe I should turn these things in and end off on the fishing note. Since it is the Way of Water thematic. No, you know what? I can always do that next time. I'll impress the guy with my apprentice fishing skill. That's good enough. Yeah, that was pretty productive despite some of the annoyances with some of these players. The first episode we end off in Valley of Trials, being a conquered champion, coming back there to show off that we're level 7. Now we get from level 7 to 10, and we were chilling at Senjin Village, having 100% cleared the quest, except we have one here, which probably is just telling us to go to Razor Hill anyway. So, pretty fun. See you tomorrow.